Okay, let's start this week's session. And today is, I would say, a bit of a important session because there are a lot of interest in cybersecurity. And in last three classes, we had gone through the networking basics. We gone through some IT fundamentals, like what are the fields coming and so on. So today's session will focus more on the cybersecurity, and we'll also touch base a little bit on the virtualization and cloud computing. I will not go into very much detail because you will have probably more details coming in the next few weeks. But at least I will give you the some basics of what virtualization really meant and what is a cloud computing meant as a layman perspective. Because in your field, regardless you are working on a coding, you are working on a networking, you are working on cybersecurity, you are working on anything else, virtualization and cloud computing are inherent part of our future now, right? We cannot avoid it. These things will keep coming, these technologies will keep coming. So it's important to at least understand on a high level, right, what is virtualization, what is cloud computing. And as I said, and these concepts of the virtualization and cloud computing are applicable pretty much in every field now, right? So it's not just related to the server administration. Is always about whatever you are, especially cybersecurity, networking, and coding. They heavily started using these technologies, so we have to make sure that we are familiar with that. So yeah, so this is the plan for today's session, and let me start the slideshow. So far we have covered a little bit of networking and all that. This is off networking session. This is like a more of other session that we are trying to cover. So this is what it is. Next week we'll have operating system, and in my view, operating system and cybersecurity are the most demanding jobs really coming around. And especially operating system is very important no matter what you do. Is super important, especially if you want to make a career in cybersecurity. Then you must understand operating system very well. The two of the most commonly used operating system are Windows and Linux. The next week we'll start with Windows. I have one of my expert colleague will be coming in and speaking on that one. So make sure that you understand the operating systems very well. So today's session is mainly me. I don't know if my friend Arshad is working in a Cisco system. He's in California, USA. He may be able to join, maybe not, but if he'll join, then we'll have a few words from him. He's working as a director in Cisco systems. Cisco is one of the top company in networking and cybersecurity and many other fields. So he's been there for 20 years and he's a wonderful resource for sure. Right. So and I've seen that Frank has joined. Hey Frank, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
So yeah, so I asked Frank to join actually before we start the class. Maybe we can have some discussion with Frank. Actually, Frank, as I mentioned, right, I was mentoring him for last few months, and he's been doing a lot of hard work in terms of his study and certifications, and he's trying to start his career in IT. Although he was working in IT support a few years ago, but during COVID and all that, a lot of things changed. He started working on his father's business, which was non-IT, and now he came back to North America and he wants to start an IT career. So for him, it's like a fresh start, right? So he started studying a lot. He brushed up his concept. He did some certification. He did some study. And the very good news is that last week, Frank got a job offer in Canada. So he's going to start his first job in Canada, and that would be an IT tech support job. And IT tech support is a wonderful field if you ask me to start a career in IT, because you get close to the supporting a lot of IT technologies, and you see what type of issues and challenges customers are facing, and you got a lot of very good familiarity with the setup, right, with the applications and networks and a lot of other things. So Frank is starting a career in IT support, I think probably in a week or 2 week time, and he's been through multiple interviews. And so I will let Frank speak you a bit, like your journey in Canada. You started, you came, and what you have gone through in last 5 6 months, and what challenges you have faced, and how you ended up getting this job.
Yeah. So I got to Canada just a week before Christmas last year.
Frank, if you can open your video, if you don't mind, if you cannot open, that's fine. But if you open that, people get more actually. I think visuals that will be better.
Okay, let me see. You can see me?
I will probably stop my presentation deck at this point. Yes, Frank, we see you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, like I said, I got here like a week before Christmas last year. Before I came, I had done a lot of research, so I enrolled into a bridging program is from Access Employment. So they usually help people with international experience get a job in Canada. And the program I was something related to cloud computing. I did that for 2 3 months, and then I was paired with Aris through a TRIAC mentorship program. So one mistake I did was I should have started applying for job as soon as I got to Canada, because it takes a lot of time. uh, you have to go through a lot of trial and error to kind of like redo your resume, try to see how the markets behave, what recruiters here in Canada want. I had worked in America for many years, but it's a completely different market. So I had to get kind of used to that. I was able to work with Harris on kind of refining my resume and get some certification under my belt. I updated my LinkedIn profile. Um, I have to say, what I had to do is, sometimes they tell you you have to tailor your resume to the job that you want. And a lot of time people say that they don't really explain what that means. I don't think it's possible to just every job you just to redo your resume. It's time consuming. It's tiresome. So what I did towards the end was to at least I looked at a lot of resume with the same kind of job title, and I did a compare and contrast. I looked at all the responsibilities, the one that were always coming back all the time, and I put them down, and I started creating a resume with. I look at the places I worked before, and I looked at the responsibility that they were asking in the job description. And if I realize that I've done this at a past job, then I will put it on my resume, even though that was not like the main responsibility that I had at the job. At least I knew that if I put it, I'd done it before. During an interview, I would be able to talk on it and be confident on explaining why I put that I did that at a previous job. Working previously at IT help desk helped me a lot during interviews, because when I was working at the IT help desk, first when I got to America, I couldn't speak English. I couldn't have a conversation in English. So I had to try really hard to get to the university level of English so I could take classes. But working a help desk job allowed me to talk with a lot of people who had very different accent from all over the world. So that helped me a lot, kind of understand what people say and get to level with them. And the main thing I realized when I started getting interviewed, I was lucky. I got basically 3 companies contacting me during the same week. So I did a lot of research online. I prepared myself, like go through the most basic ask question. Tell me about yourself. Explain this about your resume, that kind of stuff. You need to rehearse enough time so when you actually get to the interview day, it flows naturally. Think of an interview as some kind of conversation. The great interviews, according to me, is when you get your interviewer to talk a lot. You Because you make them comfortable. It becomes some kind of conversation. It's not you being nervous answering question. If you're confident about what you know, what you've put down on your resume, an interview should not be something that you're too nervous about. It's a conversation. Sometimes it can go well, sometimes it can go not well. Like I did, I had three interview with one company, and then they ghosted me. They never talked to me again. So it happens. So you just have to be prepared, and you have to be comfortable. Just rehearse. Take it as a rehearsal. Every interview, even if you don't get an offer, it's a way for you to rehearse what you know and how you talk to people, how you look on camera, look professional, answer questions, and take notes. If there is a question that was asked of you and you didn't know the answer, do not like plan say that I'm sorry, but I don't know. You don't know. But take a note and review it after the interview, and maybe you'll be better answering that question at another interview later on. So
No, wonderful, wonderful. I think Frank, thank you very much. It's a great insight, and I think the rest of the team, I would say that summarize few very important points that Frank has mentioned, and I discussed with Frank in various sessions these points actually time to time, and really Frank worked hard on these points, and eventually it resulted in a success result, right? So
mhm,
important thing is that make sure you work on your resume, right? Your resume has to make sure it doesn't have to be a very heavy resume. It doesn't have to be a 5 page resume. It has to be to the point, but at least capturing your essential skills and what you're looking forward to, and having a good resume definitely catches the eyes. And second point, which Frank also mentioned, because he worked in US, then he went to back home, then came back to Canada. And what he mentioned is that every market is different. Every job market is different. US market is different. Canadian market was totally different. Although he had the US experience in IT tech support, but he had hard time finding a job in Canada because Canadian market is different. And it's not just Canada; it's every market is different. Every country is different. Every country dynamics is different. The way company operates is different. So you have to understand your local market that you are targeting. This is a very important point. Just try to understand your local market, and it takes times to get to interviews. And Frank, I think he had hard time finding the interview calls, and all of a sudden, he in 1 week he got three interview calls. Right, so it
mhm.
happens. So you have to be patient. You have to make sure you give yourself some time, but you have to keep looking for a job. This is a very important thing, and I was keep telling Frank last 2 3 months. Sometimes people lose heart. Sometimes people say that it's not working out. I'm not getting called. I cannot work this one. They're not liking my resume. So no, but you have to keep looking for it. I know, and Frank told me that when he got a job interview, and they were referring to his very old CV. I think he must have been applied long time ago, right?
Yeah.
And somehow that CV finally clicked, and the CV that we worked on probably it's not reached to them, right? So
Mhm.
the job he has is he applied long time ago. He never heard them back, but finally they came back. So the point is, work on your resume, keep applying, keep updating your skills, keep updating your knowledge, keep an eye on your market, and a very important point, keep an interview as a conversation. This is the best interview, that you are just talking like your colleague or your someone professional, and you are just having a conversation, right? So this was the best thing. And I think Hussein has a question. Hussein, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to kind of give my 2 cents on this, that's like very important, as you said, like just building some good rapport. Because even for my current job, it was like at the start, I noticed that the person who was interviewing me was Muslim. So I greeted them with Assalamu alaikum. And then after that, it instantly like kind of had a connection. And then
Right.
it was much easier for me to actually like land the role. And the other thing is also try to reach out to the recruiters before you guys apply to the job, just so you guys can kind of have like foot in.
Right, right. Yeah, they are definitely great tips for sure. And I think one very important thing which Frank mentioned at the very last, you don't have to be take an interview on a very heavy tone. I would say keep it light. If you know something, respond it to the best of your abilities. If you don't know something, just say I don't know. You don't have to make things up. Sometimes like it's if you have a little bit idea, you can say that yes, I know a little bit. I know up to this much. But if you don't know something, you don't have to just go and start talking about nonsense, right? The important thing is that if you don't know, just say I don't know, and go back after interview, study about that topic and subject, so you are prepared for next time. Okay, so in my view, I've seen that most of the professional, they respect this fact. They know, everyone knows that uh, 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 there are things which no one knows. There are things that people don't know. There are things that you are good at. There are things you are not good at. So if you don't know something, it's okay to say don't know, I don't know, and just go back and study on that subject, right? So this is very important. Now, Frank, second thing, I would say that if you can share some of the words because you're working on IT tech support, you're going to start your job on IT tech support, but you're planning to move your career towards cybersecurity, right?
Yeah.
So tell the team here about what type of preparation you are doing, what type of exams or study material you are using. So I think this will give them some idea, that because they all are fresher like you and they all want to make a career. Maybe some of them are want to make a career in cybersecurity. What are your words for them?
About cybersecurity, working with you, so you recommended I did the Google Cybersecurity Professional Certification. So there's a lot of videos. I went through that and I passed that. Yesterday, I passed the IC Square Certified Cybersecurity too.
Oh, great! I know that. Very good. It's a great news, man.
Thank you.
Well done, well done. So how was the exam? IC2 exam?
Uh, it was actually easier than I thought, but
Oh, really?
I have I have experience, prior experience in cybersecurity. So I finished it in 45 minutes.
Oh,
Uh,
great.
the question the question though, you have to be careful. You cannot go back. So once you answer one question, that's it. You can never go back and change the answer later. Also, the question are phrased a little bit different than the material on their website. So sometimes there can be like multiple right answer to a question, but they ask you what is the best answer. So you have to kind of be knowledgeable about what you're answering to know that yeah, all the questions are correct, but what is the best one and select that one.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I think since you have already passed the Google certification, right, from
Yeah,
Coursera, I think you took the videos on the YouTube and then you went through the Coursera, right, to go
yeah,
through the
yeah,
Coursera, and you have IC2 certification. So I think you got a very good kickstart. On top of that, I think you have done the Fortinet FCP and FCA.
yeah,
So
that
these
one.
are the kind of free exams, which is very good. I think you have enough foundation for now to work as all of these are free exams, and Mars probably will go through some of these material. Some of these, I think I have a slide on that. So this is a good thing, is that a lot of information in today's world you can get for free. You don't have to pay a lot of money, and these are the good quality material in my view. All this material is quality material. It's not that it's free and it's cheap and so it's not useful. No, it's super useful. And I'm sure that now Frank is starting a career, and hopefully he'll keep learning towards cybersecurity. He's keep doing his certifications and more advanced certification, and eventually, with the help of IT tech support job, he'll be able to jump to cybersecurity in the future for sure, right? So this is, I think, the aim, and this aim will come true eventually if you keep working towards it, right? The important thing is the persistence to make sure that you don't lose your focus and keep doing it. Thank you,
Mhm.
Frank. Thanks, I appreciate that. Anyone has any question for the Frank? Anyone? Maz, I'll discuss the questions and Pakistan part later on. I think anyone has any question for Frank, because I will let him go because he's just joined on my request for a few minutes. Yes, Hussein, go ahead.
Yeah, so quick question. What was like your role when you were working at US, like at the call center?
First, I work IT help desk. Yeah, it was a call center. You answer the phone, you answer emails. Sometimes you talk to people in person. I did that for about 3 years while I was a student, so it was part time. And then I went on to get my bachelor's degree in computer science.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. And were like the skills like transferable from your job to like your degree?
Oh yes, definitely. So while I was doing that, I did. I mean, that was like almost 10 years ago. I did the CompTIA A plus. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that
And
was good for
just a
help.
quick question, how did you find that? Like, was it more difficult than IC2, or would you say it's same difficulty?
Oh no, CompTIA A plus is hard because it's two exams
I
and
see.
it's a lot of material. It's a lot of material. But right now, you can just take the Google IT support. It wasn't necessary for me to take the CompTIA A plus, but at the time, that was very well regarded. Today, there is a lot of free material that can give you the same kind of knowledge. Yeah, so
Absolutely. Yeah. In old days, there was not much material available. CompTIA was a company who was doing a lot of this certification, and it's a pretty well-respected organization, well-respected certification,
mhm.
but it's pretty heavily charged. $200 some or plus, I think 300 for the security and 200 for the IT support, something like that. So it's an expensive exam. In
Yeah,
my view, in today's world, as Frank said, CompTIA, you don't need to do CompTIA. You can do it, it's okay. But only thing is that a lot of free certification also well respected. So you can go live with that without paying money, right?
Yeah. For
Anyone
Perfect
else?
insight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
for help
Anyone else?
desk,
Any question for the Frank? Anyone else in the team? If okay, Zaina has a question. What she is? How can we get job? And also, may field may help my bachelor's degree computer science. So, I mean, Zena, the whole point is that you have to study right now. You have to make sure that you work hard, you study hard, gain knowledge as much as possible. Don't worry about the job. You will get a job if you are good in you have good knowledge, you have good kind of hands-on experience. And in these today's world, important thing is to gain knowledge and gain some expertise. And you can do a lot of free labs, a lot of free hands-on experience, all that, right? As long as you have the degree, you have some knowledge, you have some experience, and you make a good CV, job you will get it. Don't worry about the job because you're doing CS, right? So with the CS, finding a job is not a problem as long as you have knowledge, because a lot of CS graduates are not good, right? They are not doing a lot of practice in the coding and other fields that they are trying to pursue. Make sure that you study good, you get good knowledge, and job will come its way. Don't worry about the job. Important thing is to gain knowledge. So right now it's too early to say that how can I get a job. First finish your bachelor's, meanwhile keep building your skills. 2 3 years keep working on your skills, and then finding a job will not be your trouble. I'm telling you that. All of you, as long as you have the knowledge, you have the certification, you have some skills, then you will find a job, and there are opportunities you will find, right? Don't worry about the opportunity. It's a matter of time. It may take 5 months, 6 months, a year, but you will find opportunity as long as you have the skill that industry requires. Okay, then I think, Frank, thank you very much. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate your time and good luck. And stay in touch with me anytime, right? So, yeah, we'll be in touch. Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care. Bye. Okay. Okay, so today is going to be, I guess, probably a long class because we spent some time on other activities. So virtualization and cloud computing. So I'll go on a very high level concept. Please stop me if anyone is not clear. And but these concepts, at least on very high level, is important for everyone to at least get a feel of it, right? What it is. So this is again, I would say, there's still. I will read it, then I will explain it. Virtualization is a technology. Okay, it just make a virtual instances or virtual representation of whatever you are trying to virtualize. We can virtualize server, we can virtualize storage, we can virtualize network, and a lot of things we can virtualize, right? What is virtualization? Virtualization is just to create or use the your equipment in a way to make multiple copies of that service. We'll go into more detail. What does it really mean? So actually, what happened that in essentially you have a physical box. Let's say you have a computer, or you have a switch, or you have a router, or anything. You just try to make sure that you have multiple instances or virtual instances. So it acts like a multiple devices are working, right? But essentially, it's one physical device, and it has a lot of logical or virtual instances running within it. Okay. So let me go to next and just to explain you what does it really mean. I mean, so you have one box, right? So this is your PC, let's say. So normally what happened in your PC or in your laptop, right? What happened that normally we have an operating system running, right? And operating system in our laptops in most of the cases is Windows. Some version of Windows is running, and in some cases some people run Linux operating system. This is also fine, but most of the cases you run Windows. And what happened that in your laptop, your Windows application have your Windows operating system has your applications, right? Let's say you have web browsers and you have some other applications, and they are set up in here. But that's a this is you, right? This is your profile. You have installed the application that you want to use. And what happened that many times your PC, it has a CPU, right? It has a memory, right? And it has an hard disk, right? Which is you use to store your data. So you have CPU, a memory, which is sometimes people call it RAM, and all that. So you have, this is what makes your computer, right? This is what makes your computer, that you have processing power, you have memory, and you have hard disk. And some people have the graphics card and all that, right? So normally, standard machines come with a standard display. If you are gaming and all that, then you have additional memory and additional graphics card and all that. But essentially, what happened that you have one computer with these things, right? And you run your Windows or Linux operating system. This is an operating system, OS, Windows or Linux. What happened that sometimes you see that you buy a computer and it has a very strong computer, is good computer, it has a lot of memory, power, storage, and all that. And although computer is dedicated for you, but you are not using all the resources, right? So you have, let's say, most of the time people now use the web application, using, let's say, opening a web browser and just going to Facebook, Gmail, YouTube, whatever, right? Most of the applications. So most of the time, although you bought a very good computer, very expensive computer, but you are not using it to the full capacity, right? You are just using the web browser or some other application. So most of the time you have the resources, CPU unutilized, you have RAM available, you have hard disk space available, and all that. So some people thought about that, say, yeah, man, we have paid so much for this server or for this computer or this resource, but we are not using it to full capacity. And what happened what used to happen in old days, that although you have a server and you are running, let's say, some application or some web servers, right? Let's say you're running a company web server on one machine which has memory, CPU, and all that web server. Now you need to have another web server. So what you used to buy another server, right? And that server comes with its own CPU, its own memory, right? Its own hard disk, and that's, you call it the web server number 2. Okay, so you have web server 1 and web server 2. This web server is also, maybe this web server was running on Windows, and this one, let's say, running on Linux, and so on, right? So, but what happened that although you have a server number 1, right? You have first server here, you had some memory, CPU, hard disk, and some of these memory, CPU, hard disks were underutilized or available, but still you ended up buying another server, because in those days technology was not mature, and for every server, every operating system, you used to have a separate server. So these were the old days, and you can see that it was not very efficient. You have resources available, but you still cannot use it. You end up buying server after server after server. So, some smart people in the industry, they thought about it. They say, why don't we do this way? We have a computer or server, right? We have CPU, we have memory, and we have, let's say, hard disk, right? What if we virtualize? Virtualize means that I create a multiple instance of this machine here, server number 1, server number 2, server number 3, and so on, right? This is first server, this is second server, this is third server, all using the same physical infrastructure, means physical memory, physical hard disk, physical CPU, and all that, but they kind of share, right? So this is kind of how we call it a server virtualization. What we are discussing right now is the server virtualization, means, right? Physically, it's one server. It has the same CPU, memory, and all that, but I divide it into server 1, server 2, server 3, and more if I need, right? So this part where we have one physical server or one physical appliance or one physical machine, and we're dividing into different logical machines, is called server virtualization. So virtualization in concept, that you have one box and you are slicing it for different use, and you are dedicating some portions for certain use, and that's called virtualization. So because you are virtually segregating it for different use. So this is the whole concept of the virtualization, that you slice your physical box into different segments, and it can be used for different purposes. The whole advantage is that we paid once, right? We bought the box once, or we bought the machine once, and now we are maximizing the utilization. So we can see that, okay, if this server is still having the free CPU and free memory and free hard disk, I can just make one more virtual instance, right? So I keep adding the virtual instances on this one. So for that reason, if you look at here, this is what it says, right? Virtual software mimics the function of physical hardware into virtual instances of simultaneously on the same physical machine. So one physical machine, I run various simultaneously instances, and they are all operating on the same physical instance, but they are functioning differently. And we can do virtualization for the network, we can do virtualization for the server, we can do for the storage, we can do for desktop. These are the four, I would say, very common virtualization techniques. You have network virtualization, you have server virtualization, we have storage virtualization, we have desktop virtualization, and we just now we studied about the network virtualization, server virtualization, where we take one computer server and we divide it into different small servers, right? And we call it virtual servers. And it's the same physical hardware, but running different Windows or Linux servers or different operating systems on the same box. The whole idea is to get your resources utilized efficiently and get a better return on the investment, right? Because you don't have to buy a new server for every time you want to have a new web server or new application server. You can use the same physical machine, and you can reuse it until it's fully maximized on its capacity. And this is the same concept applied in the cloud computing. Okay, so virtualization in concept, I think it should be having more clear to you now, that it is a concept which we use to divide the physical equipment into multiple virtual thing. Now, as I said, if you have a computer, in case of computer, you can have a computer number one, computer number two, computer number three, computer number four. Means that maybe this computer is running Windows, right? This computer is running Linux. This computer is running maybe another Windows, and maybe this computer is running Windows with certain application that you say, let's say a web server application, right? And maybe this computer is running Windows plus, let's say you want to dedicate for the Photoshop, maybe you want to use it for photo editing, right? It has those applications. And maybe this is a Linux window, a machine, this something else. So you can have, and they all using and utilizing the same physical, which is CPU, memory, and hard disk of the machine itself, but they are virtually segmented into different smaller portions. So this is a very important idea. And so this is for the server virtualization. Same concept applies for the networking, right? In the networking world, what happened last week, we studied a lot about the switches, right? Switches used to connect to different computers together and different devices together. And what happened that, as I said, there normally in the company, what happened that we have different sections, department, we have marketing, sales, engineering, whatever, right? And definitely everyone wants to keep their data. They don't want to give access to everyone else. Only authorized users should have access. So normally in the switches, what we do, we virtualize the switch into different segment. And we studied that last week, that in switch, the virtual segmentation is called VLAN, virtual local area network. So this is VLAN number one, maybe this is VLAN number two, this is VLAN number three, and so on, right? So in the switch world, you make VLANs which virtualize, means that it's the same physical box, it has the same memory, CPU, something, and we are dedicating, let's say, certain number of ports to be part of the VLAN number one, certain ports to be part of the VLAN number two, certain ports to be part of the VLAN number three, and so on, right? So you divide, physically you have the same box, but you're dividing into different sections or groups. And this is goes for the switches. Similarly, we studied last time a device called router, which connects different network together. In router, we can also divide router into different smaller routers. In industry uses a term called virtual router or the VRF, actually. So there are different terms, different vendors uses. Same thing goes on a firewall, the device which does the security firewall. So you can divide firewall into smaller firewalls. Let's say this is a firewall for the department number one, right? This is engineering department, maybe. This is firewall for the security department or the, let's say, sales department. And what happened that in the firewall, you can also, there are many firewall vendors offer to virtualize their firewalls, means that same physical firewall, you can make multiple smaller firewalls. Sometimes they call it VCs, virtual firewall systems. Sometimes they call it context, and sometimes they call it domain. Whatever it is, its concept is the same, that is the same physical box, I'm dividing into smaller boxes. So concept of virtualization is that it's good for resource optimization. You buy the box once and you use it to the best of the capacity, and you try to make sure that you get best out of your investment. Return on investment is better. And before you buy a new box, you make sure that that box is used in the and we are getting the money recovered that we have invested on that box. The concept of the virtualization goes same for all the thing, whether it's a network or it's a server, it's a Windows or Linux or let's say whatever, right? So this is server. So any question on the virtualization concept? What is meant by virtualization? So the common are network, server, storage, because hard disk also expensive. Sometimes we have to go and buy the in the large companies we have external storage. We don't always have the storage on your machine itself, because machine has limited capacity. Your PC or laptop has limited capacity to install the hard drive. And just imagine that Google is providing a service to the entire globe, and how much storage they will be need, right? Everyone has 15 gig of Gmail account, and millions and billions of users are using Google. So Google definitely have servers, virtualization on their network part, they have virtualization on their server part, they have virtualization storage part, that they have big pools of the storage, and they divide it and assign some part, 15 GB out of it, to every single user, right? And desktop virtualization, again a concept. A lot of time in organization, people have used the desktop, means that is your machine, right? The application that you use, you just log into a cloud service and you just use it from there. The idea is the same thing. You have one physical hardware, you want to reuse and make use of the hardware to the best possible way. So you don't have to invest more on buying hardware after hardware. You just use the same physical box and just make best use of it. Any questions on this so far? Okay. I hope it's clear, virtualization part. Cloud computing is nothing very special. Cloud computing uses a virtualization. And okay, so cloud computing, I'll explain it in a very simple words. So what happened that, in companies, in organization, right? What happened in companies? Companies needs, let's say every company, let's say you take any company, any banks, let's say, right? Any organization, what banks offer? Banks offer a financial services, right? Use the banking services. So most of us uses bank application on our mobile phones, right? Or sometime we open their web pages, right? And we do transaction, we transfer money, we pay bills, and do a lot of things, right? So what happened that and this is just the front end, means that this is something that we see as an user, right? Said there is a web-based application or app. So we users sitting here, they come use this banking application, which is their web server, right? Which is having www.habibbank.com, right? So this is a web server, Habibbank server, which is kind of a every user's coming. But in the end, in the back end, what happens that this server is connected to a lot of other systems, right? Because you are asking for a transaction to do from, let's say, money has to go from my account to the utility bill, right? Let's say KC bill or Netflix bill or whatever bill. So what happened that the bank internally in the back end has a lot of other servers, lot of many applications, lot of other tools, application, they're connected to a lot of other systems to make sure that a transaction you are doing is able to carry out. And so it's not just the bank, any organization, they run tons and hundreds of the servers. And a lot of servers are dedicated applications. Some are banking applications, some are financial applications, some are, business intelligence applications, some are some databases. So everyone needs servers. The important thing is that server is a computer which runs certain applications. Okay. So banks or organizations, they need lots of servers. Organizations, large organizations run thousands of servers to provide various services. Okay. So keep in mind, everyone needs server, and server is what? Server is a computer. Server is a computer. It's nothing, just a computer doing some work for you, right? So everyone needs lot of computers, you can say. Everyone needs lot of servers. We are at our home sitting and just using our laptops or the desktops, PCs. It's just a simple computer, which is again can work as a server. Server is nothing, it's just someone that can respond to certain queries. But important thing is that it's a computer. So when we go to organizations and companies, every company needs a lot of computers, computing powers, and a lot of servers to run their business, to provide services to the outside customers, and inside their users can do. A lot of time company has HR and payroll systems and so on and so forth. So bottom line is we all need servers. Organization need lot of servers. Okay, servers are the computer that we need. And what computers are made of? If you know that computers are made of memory, CPU, hard disk, right? So this is important. Memory, CPU, hard disk make computer, and computers actually are the one which is used to provide services, and we use application and servers on that. And bottom line is we need a lot of servers. In old days, what happened that when, let's say, a company needs a server, they will they make an application, they build a server. They need another application, they build another server. They need another application, they build another server. So they have tons and tons of servers, hundreds of servers. But you can imagine, if I am putting a new web server or new server, a physical server, means that this is a computer, right? And this is a computer, and this is a computer, and this is a computer, this is a computer. I have tons of computer in my data center, right? I have in my office location or head office location or my data center, I have a lot of hardware, because every computer comes, you can imagine on your computer how much space it takes, right? So you can say that if I'm running 1,000 application, I need more than 1,000 server, because it's just a computer, and then I have hard disk, and I have need storage, and I need backups, and so on and so forth. So I have thousands of servers sitting and running in my data center. This taking lot of space. Problem is that I cannot install these servers in normal place. They are mission critical servers, means that these servers are serving critical application to my employees and my end users. So I have to make sure that these servers are secure. They have uninterrupted supply. They have a UPS supply. They are not going down with the power outages in the area, and it has redundancy. It has multiple CPUs. It has multiple memories. So a single crash is not causing my service outage. So I have to make sure I put these servers in a special location, and those special locations are called data centers. Data center are the place where people used to put their servers and networks, and so it's a secure kind of a space where people have tons of servers, and it has a lot of special features. It has a lot of redundant uh, power sources, uninterrupted power sources. And someone has any questions? No, okay. So these servers, I end up putting a lot of servers in and these servers generate a lot of heat, right? So what happened that I have to make sure that you know that, right? You all know that heat is not good for computer. When computer got heats up, your devices got heat up, you have laptop, phone, whatever. When it's heat up, it causes troubles. It doesn't work function if very well, right? So you have to make sure that you cool your device. Lower temperature is good for the devices. So when you put thousands of computer in one room and they start running at the same time, and what happened that you run into a lot of heating issues. You have to make sure that you spend a lot on air conditioning, right? Cooling. So these data center were causing a lot of money to the organizations, right? And a lot of time, every application is running on a different server. And so sometimes what happened that servers have the capacity available, although maybe this server is not busy. Maybe this server is running on 90%, this server is running on 30%, maybe. This server is running on 10%, this may be running on 20%. So you have a lot of available resources, but you cannot use them, because in old days, that's the way it was. Every server is different. Every server has its own resources, and it's not giving its resources to anyone else. Although this server might be using 0%, maybe it has all the resources available, but it cannot be given to this which is running on 90%. Maybe this server already running on 90%, and this running on 0%. This is on 0. This is on 90%. This server need more resources, but it cannot borrow from here, because this was not the way it was. Everyone has its own device. It's like your own computer. Your home computer is your computer, right? Your neighbor computer is your neighbor computer. You're not sharing it, right? It's not that if your computer needs more power, you can borrow from the neighbor. It's like everyone has its own PC, which is fine from the home user perspective. But in the same organization, same company investing on this hardware, they said doesn't make sense, right? And this model was not working very well. So for that reason, when the people start putting the data center, means that I have a data center where I put my servers and application and computer. So what started, people started doing that, they put big servers with a lot of CPU, memory, and storage, okay? And they applied the concept of the virtualization. Okay, I have CPU, memory, and storage, and I will create my virtual server. And the technology was developed and enhanced in a way that if this computer needs is running on 90% and need resources, it can ask for more resources from the central pool. This is a central pool. Okay. Okay. So these, if one machine is not using, other machine can use it, right? So this is what the concept of virtualization, where you are sharing the resources. The whole idea was that we are sharing the resources. If you don't use, let's say if I give you 10 MB or 10 GB of the memory, but you are not using 10 GB, but this guy needs 10 GB, so it can borrow from the main pool. And because this memory will see that yes, this guy doesn't need it, I can give you right now. So this sharing of the resources was very efficient with the help of virtualization. Okay, because this help us now. Before I was putting 1,000 server, maybe I will put now 200 servers, right? Which is just shared resources. So before I was going with maybe 1,000, now I'm putting 200 server and doing the same business, even better actually. So virtualization help us optimizing the cost, right? We were buying less servers, and we are making sure that we use the resources in the best efficient possible way. And so this is what companies started doing. They started with the physical servers, and they moved to the data center with the virtualization, right? Virtual data center, virtualization data center, where they started putting the servers, but they started sharing the resources of the server with each other. So you can see the transition or journey, individual servers to the shared servers or the shared pool of resources. So this was doing very well, but company was doing good business. They were saving money on the server cost because they are using the same server in a most efficient and possible way. But again, companies were spending a lot of money in maintaining these big data centers, right? They are the data center. They call it actually DCs. So they are putting a lot of money in maintaining these data centers because, as I said, a lot of servers, although now we reduce server from, let's say, 1,000 to 200, but at the same time, I have to maintain these servers. I have to give them power. I have to make sure that I have power from multiple utility providers from two different sources. I am spending a lot of money on the cooling. I'm spending a lot of money on making sure that they have multiple internet connection. If one goes down, other is available. And I have a lot of spending, right? And even I have to rent a building somewhere to put my servers and make a data center, right? So I'm still, although I make some saving on the servers, but still was investing a lot of money. And it's not just about the money. A lot of companies don't always care about the money, right? The challenge is that these companies, this is not their core business. For let's say Lever Brothers in Pakistan, or let's say Procter and Gamble, or some other company, right, which provides, let's say, cookies to the, they make cookies, that their core business is making cookies, right? Let's say making cookies or making the tissue paper. This is their core business. But now they have to invest a lot of energy and efforts and people to make sure they have a data center and maintaining the data center. A whole IT team is sitting there maintaining the data center. Maybe they have 200 IT staff and managing these servers and power and space and cooling and internet connectivity. And if you think of it, a company making cookie or tissue paper, for them it's an overhead. This is not their core business. Maybe for IT company it's okay, but a lot of companies are non-IT companies, right? This is not their core business. They have to focus on the core business. It doesn't make sense to invest a lot of money on IT staff, on unnecessarily keeping a lot of IT staff to maintain these data centers, right? So that time the concept came of cloud service providers. Okay, cloud service providers. So this cloud service provider said, okay, to the companies, this is not your core business. You don't have, let's say you are a tissue paper company or cookie company, or you are making a dog food or anything other. You have to focus on your business. Don't worry about how your IT servers are managed or hosted or all that, right? So they say that we are the cloud service provider, we are the IT company, we will build big data centers, right? You will have all the power you need, we have all the space, we have all the cooling, we'll give you all the servers, storage, power, memory, whatever you need, we'll give you, right? Only thing is that you have to rent from us. So public cloud provider, or they call it the CSP, cloud service provider, they build these big data centers, okay, huge data centers, and they have a lot of servers, power, storage, memory, and they say, you come and rent from us. You need a server, You need a server number two, you need 10 server, 100 server, whatever, and you need hard disk, memory, storage, whatever you need, you take the rent from us and you pay whatever you use, right? So this was a very good model because these cloud service provider are expert. This is their core business to maintain the IT infrastructure or data centers and power space, cooling, connectivity, servers, and all that. So company can focus on their business. Company can just rent the servers. They just use their applications and they just pay for these servers and applications, and they don't need to worry about, though, if hard disk went down, what will happen. If they don't need to worry about if power goes down, what will happen, because this cloud service provider, they'll take care of all these services as a part of their core offering, right? So cloud service providers are very important. They provide you the virtual servers. The bottom line is they provide you or rent you the virtual servers or storage or memory or whatever you want, but the point is that they rent you the things, so you don't need to worry about buying your own equipment or maintaining it. So they save you a lot of headache. I will not say that they will save you cost. Sometimes it's not very cheap to take it from these cloud service providers, but at the same time they take away a lot of headaches. And for a lot of companies, they want, they are not worried about the funding as much as they worry about the headache, because they want to make sure that business runs smoothly. They focus more on business, they make more money with the products, but end of the day they don't want to invest their resources unnecessarily or something which is not their core domain. So now they're happy that they can rent the server from the cloud service provider. And the cloud service provider, what they are doing, they are doing nothing. They're doing the same thing. They're just making a lot of virtual servers and virtual instances. And whoever comes, they give them. If you come and say that I need 3 servers, they give you 3. Someone come and says I need 4 servers, they give you 4 servers, and so on and so forth. So they are the one who's managing infrastructure. They are just renting, and they are giving you services as you need. It's all about making sure that you get the service when you want it, and you pay for the service for the time that you use it. So they cloud service provider came up with a lot of innovative ideas. They came with the idea of pay as you go, means that you pay for whatever you use. Because in the old world, you build a data center, you keep the server there, whether you're using it or not using it, you always have to maintain that cost. Here in the cloud case, you can just pay. Let's say you want a server from 9 to 5, you can pay for this 8 hours, right? You don't need after hours. You can just say that I don't not need for that, I will pay for only for, let's say, 8 hours a day, which is fine. So cloud service provider came with a lot of innovative ideas, and that's where the cloud computing comes. That they just do this, deliver the service, computing service, normally storage, databases, networking, whatever, over the internet. You can just connect to the servers and get the job done. A lot of services that use today, let's say, uh, Google have services, and Microsoft has services, and Facebook has services. They all are the cloud services. They are hosted in the cloud environments, and they are providing you services. You just connect to the service, they use the service, and so on. So the simple definition is that cloud computing is the is act of running your servers or your computers in the cloud. Means that you are renting the servers from the cloud, means that it's somewhere, you don't need to know where it is, you just connect and you get the service. Let's say we connect to Gmail, right? We connect to Gmail. Gmail is a cloud service. We just use the service. You don't need to worry about that, whether the server that I'm connecting to is in California or is in Middle East or is in Canada or wherever, right? We don't need to worry. It's as long as it's available. Whenever I'm time gmail.com, I'm getting to gmail.com. That's all I need to know, right? This is the whole idea. You don't need to know where the server is, only as long as you get access to the service when you need. Okay, so cloud computing is a concept that cloud service provider provide you to get the servers from them, and they just use the virtualization techniques in the back end to provide you those services. So in the cloud, normally, the type of services that we have is kind of 3 type of services. The way the cloud is that the public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. The public cloud, as I said, right? The public cloud concept is that the companies which you rent you the services, right? Let's say Amazon, AWS is one of the most famous company who provide you the servers on rent. And similarly, Microsoft has a company, they named this as, they have a product name Azure. They are the one, Microsoft offers these servers. Similarly, Google has public clouds offering, they call it GCP, Google Cloud Platform. So this is Google actually. So these big companies have, similarly, there are other companies. I think one of the famous in, at least in Asia, is Cloud Ocean. Is a very good service, and some others, right? So essentially, these are the public. You pay them money, they rent you server. So they have their own big data centers, and they rent you server from these data centers. So these companies rent you individual servers from data centers. What happens that some companies, big companies, will say that no, 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 we don't want to trust these public service provider companies. We want to build our own data centers. So although it's a little bit expensive, it's a headache, but still we will have our own data center. Let's say I'll have data center one or data center two. I manage these servers and everything, which public cloud provider provide. I will do all by myself, because some companies say that it's not secure to go on the public cloud, but most of the companies are okay with that. So some companies will say that I will stay within my own data center, within my own set of servers and all that. So this is a private, means that it's only for your company, no one else has access to that. This is called public because anyone can go and buy a server from Amazon, Azure, GCP and all. Hybrid, on the third hand, is mix of both. So you have some server taking from, let's say, you take some server from the public cloud provider, and you take some servers from some services you keep in your private data center. When you have mix of both, it's called hybrid cloud. So some, let's say, critical services you keep in your own personal data center, but lot of services you move to the public cloud. So in this way, you are investing less here. Actually, the point is that you're investing less here because only critical you're keeping. But again, it's a headache in my view. You're keeping both data center, but that depends on the organization and their nature and their nature of the business, and how critical is their business and what is their policies are. Similarly, was on the deployment model. This is on the services side. The core services are infrastructure as service, platform as service, software as service. I will not go into detail into this one. Probably we'll have another class. We'll go on this one. But essentially, when you say cloud computing means that you are renting the servers from someone else. And the way model works is that the way deployment was, it could be a private, it could be public, it could be hybrid, mix of both. And infrastructure services wise, services could be infrastructure service, means that you just take a server from them, right? And you do build your application on them. Now, second thing, you don't need to worry about the server, you just run the application. Let's say platform, let's say you want to develop your own codes and software repository and all that. Let's say you want them to build a Java environment for you, so they can give you platform as service. You have the platform, Java platform, they will build it, they will give it to you, you just deploy your codes and run your codes and so on. So this is called platform as service. And the simplest of all is called software as service. And this is the, we all know, we all are aware of. Software as service is just, you just use the software. You don't need to worry about anything else. You just say that I need to run this software. And someone give an example of software as service application that you guys commonly use? I think almost all of us have used very commonly. Give me an example of SaaS or software as service. Who can give me an example?
Google Meet.
Google what? Google is a Google, right? Give me the name of application.
Google Meet.
Google Meet,
Google
perfect. Google Meet is an example. Gmail is an example. Yahoo Mail is an example. I mean, they all are the SaaS, means that we just, Facebook is an example, right? And any application, any software that we just, you go and use it, because we don't need to worry about how much memory is Google server is taking. Let's say I log into Gmail, I access my Gmail, I type email, I attach my files, I send files to someone else. In the backend, Google Mail server is processing these files, and Google Mail server is transporting these files. Last week we studied about SMTP and POP and all that, right? So the server, there's a server in the backend who's doing all this mail transportation, right? Sending email, receiving email, processing email, sometimes checking the spams, if it is spam filters or not. So this software as a service, as an end user, I don't care. I just use the Gmail, and in the backend, Google is taking care of all the things, right? Of which, how many servers they need to run the Gmail for you and all that. So when we don't care about what is happening in the backend, we just care about the core service, is called the SaaS, software as service. And this is the most common of the cloud application which we most of us use it, right? So PaaS, as I said, right? Let's say it's a coding environment, development environment. What do you have to do if you are a coder? You need an environment, right? Let's say you need to build a server or a compiler for Java to run your codes and repositories. And when you build your coding, you need a lot of repositories, a lot of uh, coding repository that you need so you can use it. So you build the whole environment with the binaries and all that. So it takes time and energies. You need a server, you need an operating system. On top of that, you start building Java binaries and all that, and then your coders and developers can come and develop their code. So it takes time and effort. So let's say a lot of cloud service providers say, we will build this environment for you. So we will build a, let's say, Python or Java environment for you. You can, and all the binaries, everything is set. So it has operating system, it has the Python, Java binaries and compilers, and everything is available. You just come, develop your code, run your codes, and get your application up and running very fast. So you save your time of setting up the Java and all that. So this becomes platform as service. Infrastructure as service, IS, is like taking a server. As I said, if you need to build your at your home, what do? You buy a server, right? You buy a server and you spin up a server. You set up the operating system, you install the Windows or Linux, and what happened that after that you run that. Let's say you want to build a web server, so you have to run the web server application on that. You build some policies on that. So it takes a lot of time to start making a service ready, right? So first you have to buy the server, install in a data center, and get it ready till your end users start coming and using it. So on the other hand, the cloud service providers comes and say, you can come and tell me you need a Windows server or Linux server. I will give you that server within few minutes. You just click and your server is, means that your machine will be ready. Means that they will give you hard disk, memory, CPU. You say, I need a machine with 100 gig hard drive. I need machine with 24 vCPUs. I need machine with 24 gig of memory. And you just click and machine will become ready. Means that you don't have to buy, you don't have to install, you don't have to connect network. This networking, installation, power, space, cooling, everything is done automatically, and they give you a server. Means that it's a server. It's just same as like installing a data center. In your data center, instead of your own data center, is sitting somewhere in a public cloud service provider. So it's a bare metal, it's a basic server. So now you got access to the server. You have your server installed with the operating system, so you can build your application. Sometimes, let's say, some people will say that I want to build my web server. Some people will say that I want to build some database application on this server. So they give you server, you do whatever you want to do, right? So it's totally up to. IS is just like a plain server without any application or anything. You have to build your application on top of that. This is desirable in some cases. Some cases it's desirable to have a platform as a service, and some cases it's desirable to use software as a service. Now internet, most of the services that we commonly consume over the internet are software as a service, as an end user perspective, and this is the most prevalent use case. Yes, Majid. So I will take a break here. I think we have to take a namaz break, right? I think 9:15 is the prayer time in Pakistan. So I think we'll take a break now, and I think I will take a probably 12, 13 minutes break, and meanwhile we'll have continue. I'll be here if someone has any question, and after that we'll start the cybersecurity section in probably in 10, 15 minutes. And if anyone has any question, please feel free to ask me. People going for prayer, please go and come back quick. And if you have any question, will continue at the end of the session. I'll be available to answer any questions. And Arshad has joined. I think Arshad, Assalamu alaikum.
Hey, Walaikum Salam, Haris. I'm assuming that it's a break, so I'll come back later. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can take 10 minutes break. It's fine. You can break around, let's say, 8:15 your time, right? 9:15 actually.
Yeah, currently it's 9:04.
Yeah.
Will
Comes at 9:25
back of
actually. Yeah.
9:30.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Fine. Yeah, so I will share the slide, Nawaz. I share the slide after finishing the class, right? I'll share all the slide. And actually, it's in the WhatsApp group. If you are in the WhatsApp group, you will see in the description, course description, mein jo hai, there is a link where the slide deck is stored. So you can see the previous slides and you can see today's slide. Probably I'll publish in next few hours or maybe next by tomorrow. Because normally after finishing the course, I try to update the slide just to make sure that it's capturing the latest information. And yeah, so that's why I take some time to publish. Anyone has any question on the cloud computing or virtualization or any of these concepts that we discussed today? These virtualization and cloud computing concepts are super important because the way industry is moving, most of the services are cloud-based services. Most of the cloud always, when you think of cloud, is just virtualization. It's a bunch of servers sitting somewhere, and these servers are being rented, right? And these servers in the end providing different services. So concept of the cloud computing is very important. Yeah.
Could you go over cloud services?
So cloud services, everything that we use is the cloud service today. Let's say from the application perspective, as I said, right? Cloud has different models. As I said, from the services perspective, software as service is very common, right? As I said, Gmail, Facebook, WhatsApp, or some not WhatsApp, but let's say whatever the WhatsApp is also kind of when you access like on the internet, right? It's all TikTok and everything is a software, right? And they are hosted in a cloud environment. Means that they are sitting somewhere. Any service that we just go click and use is become a software as a service. We just care about the software that we are using. The best example is a Google Meet right now, is a software as a service we are using. Right now, Gmail is your software as a service, right? Facebook is your software. We just care about the application that we are caring, right? This is the easiest to understand. Platform, as I said, is platform is like a coding platform or any platform you just build and people start consuming that platform for their day-to-day needs, or let's say developing a new course. But important thing is that the way cloud computing started is infrastructure as a service. Means that you just take a server, they give you a server. Means that server means a computer. You want a computer, they give you a computer. What do you have in the computer? You have storage, you have memory, we have CPU, right? Normally this is what we need in the computer. You have display and the mouse and all that. This is peripherals, right? They are not the core head. I would say the brain of the computer. Brain of the computer is CPU, memory, and the storage. These are the three things you require to run and build your server. So when you say infrastructure as service, what the cloud service provider and what these companies do, they will make a server as per your requirement of the memory, CPU, and storage, and you will tell them that I need a Windows server or I need a Linux server, right? So they gave a server, and after that, it's up to you. You can install a web application, you can install a financial application, you can install any application, you can install a gaming application, you can make it a gaming server, you can let people connect to your gaming server, right? So it's up to you how you use the server. When you just get the server and you use as you want to use, that's called infrastructure as a service. Means that you're taking infrastructure, you're taking server infrastructure from them. What application you run is your problem. Now, when you say platform as a service, they give you a specific platform. You have to tell them what platform you need. You need a Java platform, you need a Python platform, you need what platform you need. They will build you that platform so you can build your application. You have to be a little bit more specific here. And when you go to SaaS, you have to be super specific that which application you want to use, right? You have to use gmail.com, you have to go type gmail.com. You have to use Google Meet, you have to type meet.google.com, right? You have to type Facebook, you have to go to specific that thing. So it's, you can see it's getting more granular, right? Here is the plain server. Here is server with some binaries or some basics installed, and here is a specific application that you want to use, right? So when you do the web hosting, to tell you the truth, when you do the web hosting, essentially you are taking a web server from them, right? So in the end, when you're taking, in my view, this is more like a SaaS service. So because you're taking a web, because in the end, what they are doing, the web hosting provider, they are buying a server in the backend infrastructure service, and what they do normally on one server, they build many web servers. Let's say they have one server with 100 gig RAM, let's say 1000 gig storage, and like 24 CPUs and all that, right? So they take one server and they build, that's 1000 web server on that. This is what the hosting provider do. They take one server, they build 1000 or more web server on that, and this one server, they give it to you out of this 1000 web server. So they just make it like a software as service for you, so you can build your own web application on that, or web pages on that actually. So web hosting is a very good example, in a sense that we all use the web hosting. Sometimes we have our own web pages, we have our own company web pages, and so on. So essentially we are taking the web servers from the hosting company. Yeah, so they are the, I would say that they are the software as service. They give you web server as an application, right? So you can, or I don't know, sometimes people confuse it. It could be they treat that like a platform, but that's not really a platform. I would say is more of a SaaS service. So you have to study more. I will put some links in the study material where you have to get a little bit more concept clarity on the virtualization and cloud computing, especially the cloud computing part, because is a day-to-day thing, right? Now you end up using cloud computing pretty much everywhere. Is you see that your Google Classroom, of most of the online classes are happening, they all use this cloud-based environment. This Microsoft is having a system where they can offer the classroom. Google have a Google Classroom system. They all like a software as service sort of thing, right? We use their softwares to connect to our classes and collaboration tools and so on, right? But most of the cases, as I said, software as service is the most common cloud service that we use most of the times. Yeah, let's start, Kare. Should we start or what? Wait.
Are we waiting for any more people?
I think we should start probably. I think. Yeah, so let's start. I think people will join in a few minutes. So, um, my colleague and friend Arshad has joined. He is in California. He's a similar background as myself. He was my colleague in NAD, and then we worked together for a while in a company called SuperNet, and then after that he moved to US, and he's been in the US for 20 plus years. He's been working in a one of the industry leader called Cisco Systems, right? That's the industry leader for the networking and cybersecurity and many other technologies. So Cisco Ashar has been working in Cisco for 20 plus years. So he's been in various roles. He's being working in the networking and as a system administrator in back in the days with operating systems. And he has tons of experience. And now for last many years, he's been working in the role of a cybersecurity. He's being working in different domains and different areas. Right now, he's a director in Cisco Systems and working on very interesting products. So I will let Arshad speak up a bit before we start our session. So introduce Arshad yourself. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Haris. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I joined your session like a few minutes back, but I commend you on, I mean, your passion during the weekends to come in and present to this audience. And I mean, I'm very, very impressed, Haris, the way you've been presenting and with the passion and things like that. It's commendable, especially during the early morning sacrifices from Sunday and everyone. So amazing work, Haris. Absolutely. So, I mean, I envy you here because I haven't done anything like that. And so that's great. So I'm Arshad, as Haris rightly said. I mean, I'm a very average student during my days of engineering. I did double E in NAD, and obviously me and Haris were the same university in Karachi, Pakistan. So, and then as Haris said, we evolved and we were the initial people who were trying to put Pakistan on internet map. So we didn't in Pakistan there was not much internet out there at that time. So we were the early people who were trying to provide access to internet from the entire country perspective. So we started that journey, and I learned a lot. And he and I are like very close friends. So now from Cisco's perspective, I mean, Cisco. I'm not sure how many people know about Cisco. Cisco is an IT leader, and I happened to be a software engineer earlier, and I was just doing some basic quality assurance work like testing, whatnot, and routing and networking and things like that. But back in 2003 till today, I would say I've been in cybersecurity for almost 21 years, and I've spent so much time in these technologies and different roles, and I evolved myself. So I learned. Cybersecurity itself is like also brand new these days. There are programs happening like masters happening. There is university programs now. I'm trying to find a PhD as well. There are some universities are offering it, but not many. So again, it's a field that's been evolved for last 20 years, and it's evolving as we move in the universities and everything. So I did my masters. I was trying to find somewhere, can I do masters? I already did my BEs and bachelors in double E, and I want to learn a lot about cybersecurity in the theory form, and already have technical and background from a practical perspective. But I just wanted to learn, where is my degree? I just want to achieve something. What has been there? So I did my masters from University of San Diego. Make sure, I mean, everyone that you can see the LinkedIn link. So you can link ourself like linkedin.com/Arshad Said. So I would suggest everyone to build your LinkedIn profile there as well, and start looking into people's journey, what they are, what their experiences are. So just FYI, just brought me in. So make sure you have your LinkedIn and make sure your name is there at the end when somebody like Arshad Said. So I have a complete name. So somebody was giving me a training, and he or she said, perhaps, he said that make sure you have a great LinkedIn profile, how you are writing about yourself, and make sure you hide all those, those jobs of your, early jobs, but just make it very high profile, and people should know what your experience looked like and where you are. So talking about cybersecurity journey was like I was able to do masters. It was easy for me, like after like 20 years of experience here in this company, so I was able to find it out. Then I'm just looking into around the fields and what kids are doing. My daughters are also my daughters in college, and she's 20 and she's also evolving. She wants to do cybersecurity. She's taking one courses. So there are a couple of courses being offered here and there. So I would suggest to look at those courses if you have interest, then try to take it. But I'm someone who is very open for people and kids that whatever they like, then do what they like. I mean, there are movies being built and all that stuff. So whatever you like, you have passion, then do it. If you don't like it, don't do it, honestly. I mean, we were forced to do electrical engineering or engineering, but at the next generation or Zen G or others are, I want to make sure that you all do whatever you have passion. If you have passion, you like to do, you're curious about, adversaries and hackers and whatnot, then you come here. I mean, if you don't like it, it's fine. You want to get medicine and attracts you, or anywhere, if you want to become a journalist or another thing, go and do it. I would strongly suggest, don't be like going for cybersecurity or something specific. So if you like this field, and you're interested in it, for sure, go and do it. So these are some of the courses that are available in different universities, and kids likes to take it. And then when I go and think about it in my past and said, okay, how did it happen? So it's still evolving, IT. So the more, I would say, think of it, the more you go and become connected, the more you are open and visible to the entire world. And the more you are, unsafe, I would say. The more we connect our devices, think of very simple, any devices. And I'm not here to guide you on the course. Haris will take care of it. I'm just talking very high level on my mind, whatever it is. A very layman term is just, if you're open in an entire world and you have an IP address, that means you are unsafe. And any product or any device, and you like putting a refrigerator, let's put it like a refrigerator has an IP address or something, it's put on internet. What could happen to that refrigerators? The world is filled with bad guys and good guys. I can come to the universe access and can try to find the particular refrigerator and IP address. I'm like, okay, this is a refrigerator, and I'll figure out what's going on. Password will not work. Eventually, it will be break. Anything that is related to software have vulnerability or defects, and these defects are exploited by the bad guys. So those things I'm just trying to explain you. Whenever you are connected, whenever you connect your grid station or electrical system of a city, whenever you are connecting any water system of a city on internet, whenever you're putting your Windows machine or Mac machine or anything on internet, you are connected, you are subject to be attacked. It's not about if, it's about when, and that's it. That's what you have to consider. So what we are trying to do at Cisco, we want to make sure that every kid or every individual who's is being connected over internet is educated in general. In general, it doesn't have to be in cybersecurity field. You have to be careful in general. When you look into your email, check it out if an email coming from Apple is the legitimate email. Become a bit more cautious, suspicious whenever you be on internet. I think this is the mentality we need to educate to our communities everywhere. Wherever you connect and you start using it, think of it, you are connected somewhere. You need to be careful in every aspect. So that's where we are. There's tons of avenues within cybersecurity. It's email security, firewall, security information event management, which Haris, I saw some slides there as well. There is endpoint security, there is application security. There's every aspect of anything we deal with today has a security element, and there's studies done. So from a career perspective, now there is another field that we use a lot, started to use a lot in the cybersecurity space, is data scientist. We are in need of data scientists for our cybersecurity because it's all about data, and data scientists help us to find the right thing or pattern or tag or anything in the entire large sets of data. So we're in search of data scientists who can help us in driving threat intelligence. That's one field that individuals who are interested to go in cybersecurity. And typical networking computer science is the behavior, and individuals are taking courses and then they drive that. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions, let me know. You can stop me anytime. You changing slides, Haris?
I think one of the very important point that Arshad mentioned, and in the last, it was very interesting. He mentioned that they are seeking for the data scientists, right? So if you guys look at the fact that we studied in the first slide and the first session about a lot of IT field, right? So data science was one of the field that Tariq talked about, and data science, and you can see that a lot of fields are complementing each other, right? So data science itself is a field, but now cybersecurity need data scientists to do a lot of their cybersecurity functioning, right? So you have to make sure that no matter which field you are in, you will always see that the technologies are complementing each other, right? So let's say you are doing coding. The coding will is used a lot in cybersecurity, right? And actually, if you can speak on this one, this is my view that in order to be a good make a career in cybersecurity, at least for the cybersecurity SOC analyst perspective, there are few base skills, I would say, right? That you should know. That coding, let's say, or the data science basics, or let's say operating system basics, at least some basics that you need to know, and that will always help you to make a perfect, successful career in the cybersecurity, right?
Let me say something, and I'll be very transparent with everyone here. Yesterday, I was day before yesterday, and perhaps the entire week, I was purple team exercise. Now, I was looking into it because the attackers have developed their software. Software is all about the attacks. They have developed a sample payload of malware for me. So they build a malware for me, and that was done based on MITRE TTP, and I can see a TTP. MITRE is another avenue that I can spend a lot of time about MITRE, but at a very high level. I was struggling myself when I was in the red team and blue team exercise that every Windows file, the DLL, every executable file, any file, these adversaries who are building those payloads, they need that. So for the coding, they were like injecting the payload in the DLL, they are hiding it, they are using Python as a command and control server, whatnot. So there's so much information was needed. I'm glad I knew some of it, but not a very extensive level. I wish I can. I'm a coder and I can write things like command and control server or initial access. I wish I could do it. But coding is very, very. Go ahead, Hussein.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I just had a question. So, were the attacks timed, or were they like just random? Like, there's
No.
time.
So there is no time, but we gave them like a lot of money. Third parties are today are given money to write something for us. Let's say I gave them a requirement. Let's say I gave them a requirement for an adversary named Turla, Turla. That's a Russian adversary. They uses a certain method of attacking. We know how it is from a tactics technique perspective. So we know it. We asked them, hey, can you build this malware for us and run it? It's not about specific timing that it will take. Sometime it takes a day or months it takes it, but for testing purpose, we wanted to get the results right away. That my product is capable of doing it. But in a real environment, adversaries are sitting there waiting for months and months and then do it. That's different. But we were testing our product in this exercise. Our goal was a little different. Red team purple exercises was like, can my product can protect my machines like an EDR product? We were testing our EDR product and its capabilities in this particular exercise. So that's why the timing matters when it comes to the actual attack. While we were just saying, oh, why don't you attack? And we'll figure out, are we firing the right TTPs, or are we firing the right security alerts that can be used in, whatnot. So that was the intent. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I appreciate it. So it was like a specific attack that you guys were evaluating it for. It wasn't like all attacks and then.
No. So in order to understand this thing is, I wanted to know my product. First of all, I'll give some requirements because each group uses hundreds of malwares, different techniques. So MITRE techniques starts from the reconnaissance to all the way impact, basically initial access. Then you go persistent privilege escalation and all that stuff as you move on in the journey, in the entire journey. But we as a company give them some, because you cannot cover the entire world, right? You start with little, you start and expand more. So you give, okay, hey, Mr. XY company, I could build it. Can my product handle this particular tactics or technique well? Persistence or initial access. Initial access is all about phishing. Let's say, how do you take the malware? How do the malware enter into your endpoint or machine? Let's say Windows or Mac. How does it enter? And can I block it? Like through phishing, through link, through a URL, through a file attachment, the social engineering, all that stuff. So this is something called initial access and initial access tactics. Where can we block by using email threat defense, which is a product, email security appliance, this is another product that basically looks into it and look into Microsoft O365. An email is coming in, we look into the URL and we scan URL database. There's so much stuff there, but I'm just giving you an idea that we ask, it's our defined testing, but there are tools available on internet that can, run a lot of variety of attacks. And one of the tools that you all can run is, if you have a Linux machine, is called Metaxploit. Very effective. It can develop a command and control server. You can access a Windows machine. So you just need two machines, one Linux machine and one Windows machine. I think the best way to learn is get an account from Azure and just spin up virtual machines, as Haris said. Create your own virtual network and start using Metaxploit. And Metaxploit itself has a lot of tools. Kali Linux also itself has so many tools. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah. Okay. So the tools that you're mentioning, are they like free tools or
free? They're free. They're free.
They're all free. Okay. Perfect. We appreciate you clearing it up. It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here to answer any questions. So for future, you have my LinkedIn profile. You guys you all can email me or text me in LinkedIn message me. Then I can respond to any of your queries or anything. So I'm more than happy to do that. But I was just giving you a high level thing. It's interesting to see red teaming and blue teaming is also. But one of the things I suggest also, my job is not red teaming and purple teaming or blue teaming, but I am learning. I was very interested in doing that recently. But my job is to build security products. My job is to build security products. It's like product management. I am in product management. I build products. I'm currently involved in building Cisco XDR, Extended Detection and Response System. My job is about building a product and selling it to our customers. That does a lot of functionality. I was involved in doing email security appliances. I was driving the email business for 200 million plus business, where my email appliances, Ironport, is used in Talos and there's so many, I shouldn't say that, but these are open customers. Email services are being used. They're used in banks. So banks employees uses encrypted email. So we provide all kind of products, cybersecurity products. So I build products and then get them tested and also can ship it to customers. So we also build firewall. I mean, you have heard about Palo Alto firewall. You heard about Fortinet firewall. So we're also in that business. Yeah. My job is to build those products working on the features, capabilities. I provide requirements to engineering code it, we get it tested, and we get to the customer. So that's a different job profile. Product management is also very interesting career path. And I would love to have people join that career path also. You can be a product manager in the cybersecurity world. You can be a product manager in the networking world. You can be a product manager in Google for developing applications, in ChatGPT. One thing before I end up my talk is, these days you hear a lot about and use a lot about ChatGPT and AI and machine learning. I think we use heavily ML and AI capabilities now. We're bringing AI SOC assistant, security operations centers, in every product. We are bringing Gen AI, because we want to make sure that AI is used to configure and give us reports. So we are using, and not us, it's going to be every other product you're going to touch in future that will have an AI and ML element. So cybersecurity will heavily use machine learning for driving detection, finding threats, lots of things beside doing threat researching. So I'll just stop here. Aris, I took a lot of time, but I was just sharing my mind. I didn't came up with a mind process or something.
Absolutely, Asha. Thank you very much. I think the whole point is that I would ask you that seeing you're sitting in the cybersecurity definitely and product development in one of the largest security company in the world, and how you are seeing that future is evolving. I picked a few words from your talk that definitely Gen AI, as you mentioned, right? So, but someone sitting on this call right now, 20 people sitting in this call, and some of them will be making a career in cybersecurity. What is your advice to them? How should they pursue the career? How, I mean, the whole idea is that this session is to make sure that people get some knowledge that if they want to make a career, what are the base skills or core skills or some
Okay.
of the things that they should work on?
Okay. So let me just start with. So my VP and EVP, they are saying if you are unaware of AI, Gen AI, machine learning, you will be irrelevant. So everyone in this call must find out what's going on. How does AI works? How does machine learning works? You take courses, understand it. How does it work? You'll be surprised that this thing is going to be changing the future of this entire world. AI and ML is a must, and that's what very much mandatory for everyone in the company to understand it. That's just a professional IT company asking their employees to be aware of AI and machine learning in any aspect. So you will use them as tools. Like cell phone can be used to browse. Cell phone can be used to make a phone call. Cell phone can be used for chatting. Cell phone can be used for this thing. So like the same thing, AI ML will be used for many things, developing software, cybersecurity software, adding in configurations, all that stuff. So doesn't have to be cybersecurity. It can be other fields, but AI and ML is a must for sure. And then you drive your any career directions. Could be an IT professional, could be a cybersecurity professional, could be a someone else, X, Y, Z, someone who's doing like movie making. They will be using AI and ML. So ML and AI is a must for everyone. And I'm just as we speak, I'm taking a course in SANS training. SANS training is one of the best, expensive though. Unfortunately, it's expensive. I wish I can give you, but sometimes there are courses which are free. Try to take SANS training. I'm taking a SANS training, AI and ML with cybersecurity. I wanted to understand what's going on. So what the minimum requirement was to know Python's big time. Python is the language that has built the backend, like indexing and everything for ChatGPT and other stuff. So you got to learn all that stuff besides when you go into each skills and cybersecurity. But I think the fundamental thing is you got to be aware of Gen AI and AI as well, and machine learning for sure. With this, you can leverage this in any field. It has to be product management, can be anything. So I think that's a must. You start with the basic courses. There's a Coursera app available that can get you a free AI basically training. Initially, it gets bored. You can get bored, but you gotta stay and get focused a little bit, because think of it, ChatGPT is very exciting. You go to ChatGPT, you ask anything, it goes in, browse and gets you the data and everything. It's interesting for someone as an end user, but the interesting part is how does it do that thing behind that at the back end, and that tells you the back end. That ChatGPT is based on transformational network, neural networks. There is natural language of programming. There are other stuff that's been at the back end that is used to drive you the data. I love it when I say, ChatGPT, can you tell me about cybersecurity? Can you create a course for me, cybersecurity? It did it. It did it last night when I was thinking about it. It did it for me, an entire course automatically. It does it on the website. It scans the Bing and all that, so it did it for me. But how? How did it do it? And that is the point where how did the OpenAI system they are working on to get you the data, and how the future will be when it comes to this thing. I think the cutting edge is this piece. Now, obviously talking about its security. So there is a security that will be needed to protect ChatGPT or AI infrastructure. There's a security that AI will help you to do it. It also, you need to protect itself, because if somebody get hold of the back end, it will start giving you incorrect data and bad data. Go ahead. Was the question coming from Fatma? Okay, go ahead, Fatma.
She's asking that is cybersecurity useful for Jamstack developers?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Why not? Why not? You have the skills to develop this thing, so why not? Because for every program you write, there are vulnerabilities. These are man-made programs, right? That's not God-made. God basically makes perfect things. But man-made is like there is always going to be holes, and that's where the hackers exploit that.
And this is what it is exactly, because I was 2 weeks ago, I was in a Palo Alto seminar, right? And this is exactly, they were talking about that. Most of the times, these codes that developers are working, they have the vulnerabilities, right? They are not
Yeah,
fixed. So they use the sometimes is GitHub repositories which have the challenges and issues and cyber challenges, right? And
yeah.
developers start using them without realizing that they are using the bad code. So security is also important for the developers and any coding you use, right? JNSTech or whatever.
Like I can give you an example with the router software code. Cisco-based Cisco routers have vulnerabilities. How? And sometimes in Ukraine somewhere, I don't know if I don't remember exactly what was it, but there is some hacker somewhere had got hold of Cisco routers operating system. They coded the router software with, they put an additional payload inside it and download and put it on the router. So the router was compiled and router was up, but with a vulnerability and the hook. The hook was there. That's why, there are countries that are banned to be importing the products from there, because companies, the world, the other countries can put an hook inside their products. Let's say if an X country is trying to ship something to a Y country, and Y country will say, okay, you're sending me your routers, your switches, your phones, your CCTV cameras, fine. I just want to know if there is a hook. If there is a hook, that means you don't know what's in the software. You can put a hook with a command and control server, and you can operate it remotely. So you never know. So you need to go through the entire compliance cycle. So anything is possible. Whatever you're using, there must be a hook. I mean, there somewhere.
So do they usually use like computer worms in these attacks to like kind of
So
spread it out, or?
yeah. So how think of a worm is about spreading. It's like taking the malicious payload and spreading. Worm is like spreading. Yeah, they use a lot of techniques, and one of them is like propagating it. Worm is like this. You're spreading it. Like while you have a vulnerability, I to make sure of that vulnerability. I figure out and I go and access. It's all about getting an access inside your whatever it is, and then moving on, changing, making. So hacker or attacker comes in your environment. Let's say comes in your laptop, comes in and say, okay, through email phishing, you downloaded a bad file. Let's say it's so when file is downloaded, something will execute behind the scene without like not an exe file in a task manager. No,
Yeah.
it's going to be running under the DLL. You will never notice, or maybe running in a legitimate file, the program, and then the program, what it does, it goes and makes sure that it has a persistence enabled. When I say persistence, means like it will save it. If you reboot it next time, it should be there. So next time this hacker or attackers want to make sure that, if the router get rebooted, or machine get rebooted, or Windows machine get rebooted, it will retain the same DLL working. Now it's move on. So it will go lateral movement, go and try to figure out the user database, SAML, looking into a Active Directory. Okay, here's my user's name, password. It will look into the password. Then it tries to log in, and then it will start going through command and control server, which is the last piece. Command and control server can control these machines and whatnot. So at some point of time, I can come next time and talk to
I
it.
see. So they kind of use like multiple attacks to kind of
Yeah,
get to
it's
the end version.
variance. It's a lot of
not just one.
variance. Yeah. It's not one standard way of coming in. Oh, they come
Yeah.
through a very variety of ways.
I see. Okay. The
And
scary world we live in now.
yeah, very scary word for sure. Rizwan has a question. He's asking about the how blockchain technology.
Blockchaining.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Handling.
I mean, I don't know about this. I have never been, to be honest, I'll be fair with you. Blockchaining always uses a lot of computation. And if there is a software there, absolutely, they need to put some security as top of priority, because we have seen Bitcoins and others being impacted by the adversaries as well. But these type of attacks, I'm not too familiar with it, because there's so much things to do and talk about. So I'm not an expert on it, but I can come back later and I'll give you some insight, Haris, about this blockchaining technology,
And
blockchaining handling.
in general, to tell you the truth, I mean, technology will keep evolving, right? And the
Yeah.
point is that no matter which technology we are using, whether we are using blockchaining, we are using the cryptocurrency, we are using, let's say, development, coding. The idea is that now world is so digitized. So whenever we go digitize, there's always an inherent cyber risk, right? There's always a risk of misuse of that technology and see people are putting their like the viruses and the codes and malicious code and so on. So always a security risk in all the digital field, right? So cybersecurity meant for to secure whatever you're doing on a digital world, right? It's not just for means that you are securing your IT infrastructure. It could be like the things that you don't see. That's IoT devices that Arshad mentioned sometime, right? Now we have connected fridges, right? Our appliances at our home, our fridge, our washing machine, eventually they will be connected, and they are connected even today in many cases. So these things, when we connect, they give us a lot of comfort and ease to use, because we can use through the app, we can control them from the app. But this is us as an end user, we are enjoying the use, but at the same time, that the malicious users or hackers, they are also using it for their benefit. They can take control of these devices, they can do the misuse of these devices, they can do a damage to you. End of the day, when these technologies and these digitization is happening, for our comfort, but at the same time, there are bad people out there who is trying to use them in their favor, right? Or that's where the role of cybersecurity comes, right? So cybersecurity scope, in my view, is very wide. It's not just like securing the company infrastructure, is on a personal asset also, right?
And additionally, we're talking about nation states. Each state or country invest a lot in cybersecurity, and they're nation state war zones. So think of a simple water containment plan. You have a water plan. Right? In a city, there is a water plan. If I change a little bit of chlorine content on it, and I made add more and more, and then some potassium is being changed, it becomes a poisonous water, right? If I have an access to a country's or city's water plant, what can I do? Tell me. If I can just adjust and go inside the system, change the content and everything, what's going to be? The entire city will be poisoned by the water, any supply. Think of electric grid station. If I have an access to an electric grid station, what I'm going to do as a bad guy, assuming. So those things are, as Haris says, the more we get digitalized, the more we get connected. You gotta connect your electric grid station over internet so people can get access. You're getting into a comfort zone. The remote employees are working, getting accessibility for water and other things, and companies are working outside their comfort zone. They are remote. They are no borders, and you are connected. You are leveraging a lot of benefit. You can do things in seconds. It's great experiences, but the great experiences brings, when you're connected, that means you brings unsafe, brings more risk also. So there's a risk also, but that's why we are here to provide the security, cybersecurity in every aspect. So there is an IoT security, there is infrastructure security, there is platform security, there is application security, there's avenues of things, and there is a need of a lot of millions of cybersecurity professionals are needed for companies to do this thing. And there are carriers, security analysts, threat researchers, product managers, whatnot. There are technical marketing engineers, there are other avenues that can be exploited. But from a study perspective, I would say data scientists, understand AI and ML for sure, and then do your own computer science. Start with your computer science bachelor's, and then go and take the course for cybersecurity if you are interested, and then in parallel start working for a company. Understand and make sure you know coding. Python is a must. These days Python is a must for sure. And those things, I'm just coming in my mind, and I'm just writing and saying things because I'm really, really unprepared for this thing.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
great.
just
Go
one
ahead.
last question. I'm sure as a product manager, you work alongside with a lot of people in sales as well.
Yeah,
What
that's the
would be
job.
the best route for let's say if I want to get into technical sales, especially in the States?
So in sales, what I've seen, first of all, you need to build your communication skills. It has to be amazing. You need to convince, you need to translate complex things like what I just said into a very layman term who is an exec, and you're trying to sell it to customers. You need to, as a sales guy who needs to understand the product well. So if you are, let's say, an email security consulting engineer for company X, you got to learn all the product about it, technically, how it works, how does it work, how it protects, and then you need to go and and present to your customers and sell it. I think it's more about selling it, showing the value, demonstrating the product, talking about how the competitive landscape is. This is my product, how you should be aware of the competitors as well, that my product can do XYZ, and this is our narrative, and this is my product provide value proposition. And this, Mr. Customer, this is, I can give you a POV, proof of value. I can show you a demo. I can do all that stuff. So understanding the products for a particular area helps you become a good sales engineer, and then understanding the market. And the best thing is communication. I've seen sales should be amazing in communicating to the customers. And that's my job. My job is to a technical person, or as a product manager or technical marketing engineer, I enable sales. I train them on technology. They take the training, they get aware, they go to customers and sell my product.
I see. Okay, I really appreciate the advice. And would you say like it would be better to start off with like a technical position, or would it be better to
Yeah. You
make
can
a
pick up
business
a
career?
support guy. You can become a support guy first. The best is to start with a support guy. You understand the pain, the troubleshooting. Spend a year or 2 years on support, understanding those products. Let's say you work for Cisco. You start with Cisco Tech. Here are we, and you do some CCI or some courses and understanding, because the support guy becomes so good because they get the call when the customer is not happy. It's my product is not working. They get a call and they help and troubleshoot it. So every morning when a support guy wake up, he starts with a negative note, not a positive note. Like, okay, somebody's going to call me. He's not happy. I need to make sure that I fix the product and help him, solving his challenges. And then you understand the product. And then I've seen people moving from spending a couple of years, 2 years in support, and then become a TME, technical marketing engineer. You become, evangelize. You evangelize a lot of your products to customers in the shows. There are shows, there are conferences. You go, you become a speaker, and then you evolve as product manager. You become a sales guy. So this is a journey as an individual and professional I've seen. And if you want to become like a VP or president or someone like a CEO, you go into the product management line, I would say. And if you become like an IT or security op threat researcher, you go into the CISO line, security information and security CISO. You become an operation for that. So CISO is another one who's, the problem with the CISOs of the companies is like, if you got breached, you got to pay a lot of money to the government, and you're bad marketing, and it's a shame for a CISO, but the job brings like loss of risk and everything. So those things as well.
Wait, so as a CISO, if there were to be an attack on the company, all of the damage would basically fall onto you?
You're responsible.
Not only you, yeah, but you save yourself with some cyber insurance, and there are ways around, right?
Yeah, there are ways to do it. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be blamed. I'm not going to go become a CISO. I want to become a CISO. I want to write a cybersecurity policy and everything. But think of the risk, because it's your responsibility to protect your company, right? Obviously, people understand there are going to be breaches, there are going to be issues, there are going to be things. But your job is to make sure that your company is safe.
Yeah. Wonderful. Anything else? Any other questions from anyone else, Hussein or anyone else in the audience? I see a lot of audience. Any questions? Feel free to ask. Urdu, English, doesn't matter. No question is a bad question. Sare questions sahi hain.
One of the practices, in my team is, honestly, Haris, it was funny to share this. Every call, my boss ensures that we have a camera on, because it's disrespectful if you are without a camera, unless you have a legitimate excuse.
Right.
So that's another practices we are striving in our culture in IT. So if you are on a call, you need to turn on your camera, because otherwise it's disrespect to people who are investing a lot of time, effort, and they're here to present and all that stuff. Make sure you have a camera on, unless there are legitimate excuse. I am somewhere else, I'm driving there, and this and that. So you don't turn on the camera, fine. But with the excuse, that's how we operate here. And that's a culture that's going to evolve in future. When you are in a company, you are on remote jobs, but you need to turn on your camera on to make sure that we know, what's going on. Are you experiencing are you getting the right experience? Are you getting the right training? Do you have any questions? Feel free to ask questions and be engaged. That's always the culture. When you come in the professional life, you will have to embrace.
Wonderful. So what we're going to do today, actually, we will not, go through the content that I developed, and we'll go through some other time. Maybe we'll find a slot in some other time. Today, we have 10 more minutes, I would say. If anyone has any questions for Arshad or for myself, we will stick here for a few minutes. So, but I would recommend that if you have any questions regarding anything, let's say you want to make a career,
Yeah.
cyber, you are not clear, and you want to ask any questions about in general, not just the cyber, I would say in general, just feel free to ask right now, because we are not going to go through the course material. So we'll just keep it for discussion session, right? So everyone is welcome to ask any questions, anyone else, and don't shy, right? उर्दू में पूछो, वो मुश्किल नहीं है.
ये मसला नहीं है. और अच्छा, before I forget, one more thing, just coming in a lot of mine in my mind, we don't see a lot of mobile or smartphone adversary and issues these days. For the last couple of years, we're focused on Windows a lot. Now we've started seeing Mac, we started seeing iPhones, iOS. So you got to be careful as you move on with the smartphones and things like that. That's going to come in the next future things. When I say cybersecurity impact, will have an impact there. We're seeing a lot of things coming in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Rizwan.
हाँ, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
अस्सलाम।
मेरी आवाज आ रही?
जी जी आ रही है, बोलो बोलो।
अच्छा, पहली बात तो ये कि मैं ब्लॉकचेन पे फिर मैं जाऊंगा, क्योंकि ब्लॉकचेन का मेरा थोड़ा सा एक्सपीरियंस रहा है। तो ब्लॉकचेन के ऊपर ज्यादातर जो उसकी यूएसपी है, राइट, कि इट्स वेरी हार्ड टू ब्रेक, राइट। ये जो इंक्रिप्शन है उनकी काफी लॉन्ग है, लाइक 64 बिट है या 130, ये एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं। सो क्या ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजी इज लिमिटेड टू फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर्स ओनली? क्या उसको ओवरऑल इंडस्ट्री पे इम्प्लीमेंट किया जा सकता है, सो कि वी कैन प्रिवेंट द साइबर अटैक्स? एक क्वेश्चन ये है। और क्वेश्चन 2 ये है कि व्हाट इज एथिकल हैकिंग?
एथिकल हैकिंग में तो मैं पहले बताता हूँ ब्लॉकचेन से पहले। एथिकल हैकिंग ये है कि बेसिकली आप यहाँ पे बहुत सारी कंपनीज हैं जो आपको ऑफर, जैसे मेरा एक बैंक है और मैं अपने बैंक को प्रोटेक्ट करना चाहता हूँ, और हर दफा क्लाउड के अंदर एक न्यूज रिलीज आती है, नया सॉफ्टवेयर रिलीज आती है, बैक एंड पे हम चेंज कर रहे होते हैं बैंक की, लेट्स से बैंक ऑफ XYZ वेबसाइट है, इट्स वेरी क्रिटिकल एसेट्स आई हैव, लाइक customer information, social securities and everything. So what I do and take services from ethical hackers, they come in every day, they are attacking my website. I provide them the right to do it. And when they attack, they tell me what the vulnerabilities are. So I get that information. I get it fixed through my backend software engineer. So this is somewhat an example of an ethical hacking, meaning like I'm giving you money to give you, okay, here's the thing, here's the money, and try your luck. This is an open forum. Just try whatever you can think of a website. This is a website example, and you can try it. And that's where it becomes more ethical. And there's a contract obligation that we can go in and see it. And their job is to provide me vulnerabilities and can show me. And then so my developers can fix the bug on the applications.
So हैकिंग कर रहे हैं, आसान अल्फाज में वो हैकिंग ही करते हैं, लेकिन वो आपकी इजाजत से हैकिंग करते हैं और वो चेक करते हैं आपके सिस्टम कितने फुल प्रूफ हैं, राइट। एथिकल इसलिए कह रहे हैं कि वो आपकी परमिशन से कर रहे हैं और आपने अलाउ किया अपने सिस्टम्स की सिक्योरिटी चेक करने के लिए, राइट। दैट्स व्हाई इट बिकम्स एथिकल हैकिंग। अदरवाइज दे यूज द pretty much same tools that other hackers try to use, but उनकी जॉब यही है कि just to make sure that and check your systems are protected or not protected.
So, ये एक sort of vulnerable तो नहीं है, सिस्टम आपको vulnerable हो जाए, आपने एक some company को paid किया कि just break my system, or they were able to break your system, and somebody gonna hire them to break their system
नहीं,
again.
जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है ना, यहाँ पे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है ना, जब तो आप एथिकल में आ जाते हैं ना। जब हमको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, मैंने आपको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिया है कि आपको ये है तो ये इसमें है। और हमारे पास भी ऐसा नहीं होता कि the other side also have a lot of people out there. It's not like एकदम कोई बेसिक सी वेबसाइट तो नहीं बन रही है। बैंकिंग वेबसाइट, बैंकिंग कंपनीज have so many threat researchers, so they're talking about multiple hundreds of people on one side. It's not like easy, okay, simple सी एक वेबसाइट हमने बनाई और उसको हैक कर लिया और yes you will, but there is a contractual obligation as well. So there is infosec, there's so many things when you go through the entire exercise. There is making sure you are compliant. We also ensure that whatever infrastructure you are using, we are compliant to that. So there are restriction and controls we put in place to ensure that this happens. So there is a lot of controls being put together.
और दूसरा ये होता है कि जब अगर आपने लेट से हायर किया समवन एंड दे आर एबल टू पेनिट्रेट इनटू योर सिस्टम, वो हैक कर सकते हैं आपके सिस्टम में, तो फिर वो आइडेंटिफाई होता है कि भाई क्यों हैक किया इन्होंने। दे कंपनी मेक श्योर कि भाई वो उस सिस्टम को फिर उस
बग फिक्स करें, उसको अवॉइड
करें नेक्स्ट टाइम। तो द होल आइडिया इज दैट before going live or even sometime after going live, they do this testing with in a controlled environment कि वो वेरीफाई कर सकें कोई अगर बग्स हैं, इश्यूज हैं, challenges हैं, vulnerabilities हैं, उसे फिक्स कर सकें, बजाय इसके कोई हैकर आके उनको हैक करे और पैसे मांगे बाद में. तो this is done in a more controlled fashion.
Or let me go back to the blockchain question about encryption and the number of keys you're going to use to encrypt things. So encryption हर जगह impact नहीं करती. Encryption आप encrypt कर सकते हैं और जब encrypt करते हैं चीजें तो it takes time. It slows down the applications. It network connections भी network अगर आप encrypt कर रहे हैं through communication becomes slow in terms of performance. Also लंबी keys use करने का मतलब है आप compute ज़्यादा ले रहे हैं और सारा कुछ कर रहे हैं तो उससे there is a trade off also. और हर चीज इंक्रिप्शन से खत्म नहीं हो सकती. लेकिन जैसे आप ईमेल इंक्रिप्ट शुरू कर दें, लेट्स से ईमेल, अब हर ईमेल इंक्रिप्ट होगी हॉटमेल पे, जीमेल पे, इट्स नॉट possible. They may do some body, they do stuff, but still at some point you have to click the URL, you have to have a file that will open up and do that. So yes, it helps, the encryption helps in general, where it's जहाँ पे उसकी यूज होगी वो वहाँ encryption यूज सकती है, लेकिन हर जगह encryption यूज नहीं हो सकती. और वो करती है encryption help कि आप उसको कर रहे हैं या हैशिंग से कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इन जनरल नहीं हो सकती हर चीज पे उसकी इम्प्लीमेंट. रिजवान, मुझसे एक सवाल पूछूं आपकी, आप कौन से उसमें हैं, आपका डोमेन क्या है और आप किस कोर्स में हैं, या आपकी जनरल अपना प्रोफाइल बताएंगे, बिकॉज यू टॉकिंग अ लॉट अबाउट ब्लॉकचेन.
एक्चुअली मेरा 15 years एक्सपीरियंस है. आपने फाइनेंशियल एक्सचेंज प्रोटोकॉल शायद नाम सुना फिक्स का. ठीक है, मैं एक सॉफ्टवेयर हाउस में था, हमारी कंपनी थी मिक्सड टेक्नोलॉजी. आई वाज लेवल 1 सपोर्ट इंजीनियर और हम क्लाइंट्स को फिक्स कनेक्टिविटी प्रोवाइड करते थे थ्रू आवर ऑर्डर मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम. ठीक है, सो मेरा ये टेक्निकल बैकग्राउंड है. ओवर 15 years मैंने इसी पे काम किया. प्लस ऑब्वियसली जितनी भी टेक्नोलॉजी है उसको मैं फॉलो करता रहता हूँ, उसका मैं यूज़ भी करता रहता हूँ. और ब्लॉकचेन के ऊपर क्या है कि ऑब्वियसली जब हम क्रिप्टो के ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं तो क्रिप्टो के ऊपर जितने भी ब्लॉकचेन के जो अकाउंट्स है वो हमने क्रिएट किए और उस पर वर्किंग की. तो वही मेरे पास एक क्वेश्चन आया था, क्योंकि साइबर सिक्योरिटी मेरा डोमेन नहीं रहा. बट मुझे एक क्वेश्चन यही समझ में आया कि टेक्नोलॉजी ब्लॉकचेन जो है बैंकिंग सेक्टर अप्लाई कर रहा है. इवन ये मैंने सुना था कि स्टेट बैंक ने पाकिस्तान में भी बैंक्स को कहा है कि आप ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजी इस्तेमाल करें. मे बी द रीज़न वो यही है कि उसको ब्रेक करना इतना ईजी नहीं है. तो मेरे क्वेश्चन यही था कि अगर ये टेक्नोलॉजी फिलहाल हो सकता है सिर्फ बैंकिंग सेक्टर के लिए अभी इम्प्लीमेंट की जा रही हो, लेकिन हो सकता है फ्यूचर में इसको ऑल ओवर, क्योंकि साइबर सिक्योरिटी जो है वो अब हर फर्म के लिए एक कंसर्न है, एक मैटर है. ठीक है, तो हो सकता है ये टेक्नोलॉजी इसको ओवरकम कर दे जो चैलेंजेस हैं इस इंडस्ट्री को साइबर उसमें. वो मैं
रिजवान
इसलिए
आपकी,
पूछ रहा था कि
हाँ, मुझे रिजवान थोड़ा सा ये है कि ब्लॉकचेन में ये है कि जो इसमें फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर्स के बेनिफिट्स होते हैं, जब आप कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी इंप्लीमेंट करते हैं तो देयर इज एन एलिमेंट ऑफ फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर लाइक बैंक्स. सो इट कैन ओनली बेनिफिट सर्टेन एरियाज बिकॉज द वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन और यूएसपी वही होती है कि जब भाई एक सर्टेन डोमेन है, उसकी डोमेन रिलेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी है, यस, बट हमने इतना सुना नहीं है कि ब्लॉकचेन हमारे पास आ रही है एज अ साइबर सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल्स ओवर द टाइम, ओह दिस विल चेंज द वर्ल्ड. I think, in my opinion, it's my personal opinion, that things will always be not that. We're always going to be behind the adversaries. It's going to be, the applications are going to be built, the new stuff going to come in. We just need to be updated all the time. I think the best way, and at a very high level, is the best way, not from a protection perspective, from an endpoint perspective, कि भाई हर बच्चे को पता होना चाहिए कि आप जब कोई चीज एक्सेस करते हैं किस तरह सिक्योरली करनी चाहिए. And I haven't heard it. I can go back in a little bit and come back to you, Rizwan, about blockchain where it falls in. But as a company and for last couple of years and things like that on the security map, cybersecurity map. Oh, I'm waiting for blockchain technology. That's what not. I haven't heard anything. But I think I can go back and come back to you on this one. I think Haris.
Just to add on that, Rizwan, the way I see that, I mean, I'm not a blockchain expert for sure, but the way my understanding is, blockchain basically is an online ledger system, right? It's helping the the financial industry to
Yeah.
maintain an online ledger instead of maintaining it locally. You do distribute online over various things, and the lot of checks and balance are happening to make sure the integrity of the data is essentially is online ledgers. It's not a cyber security technology.
Technology, yeah.
It's not a cybersecurity technology, it's a financial technology. Okay, it can help somewhere to secure the data and all that, but essentially don't take it as a native cybersecurity product. It's not a native cybersecurity product.
नहीं, मैं क्वेश्चन मैं इसको साइबर सिक्योरिटी से लिंक नहीं कर रहा हूँ। मैं तो सिर्फ ये कह रहा हूँ क्योंकि ब्लॉकचेन इज अ टेक्नोलॉजी, और क्योंकि फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर पे सबसे ज्यादा साइबर अटैक्स होते हैं, तो
Correct.
पाकिस्तान के अंदर इसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया जा रहा है एज अ
सही।
टेक्नोलॉजी, राइट। मे बी द मेन रीजन वो यही हो कि ये जो अटैक्स हैं साइबर, ये पाकिस्तान के अंदर पिछले दिनों काफी बैंकिंग सेक्टर में ये साइबर अटैक्स हुए हैं और डाटा जो है वो ब्रीच हुआ है। तो मे बी मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि मे बी ये जो है इम्प्लीमेंट करने से एटलीस्ट आप एक साइड को सिक्योर बना रहे हैं अगेंस्ट द साइबर अटैक्स। तो ये मेरा क्वेश्चन था कि मे बी ये उसको ओवरकम कर ले जो चैलेंजेस हैं
No.
Yeah,
साइबर
maybe it helps. It helps in
It may
certain ways.
help.
It may help.
Anything
Yeah.
will help. It will help to an extent. But I think I can give you a specific answer. Give me some time. मैं भी कुछ पाकिस्तान वालों से बात करते हैं, जरा देखते हैं कि क्या कर रहे हैं। तो बेसिकली आई फील लाइक you're right, हारिस। ये जो ऑनलाइन लेजर जो है ना, बस उसकी एक स्पेसिफिक एप्लीकेशन है, तो उसको आप यूज कर सकते हैं सर्टेन एरियाज में। आई हैव नेवर हर्ड ऑल दीज थिंग्स बिकॉज स्टेट बैंक के पास भी मुझे पता है क्या क्या चीजें हैं आपके पाकिस्तान में, उन्हें क्या क्या लगाई हुई चीजें, वो यू नीड ऑल दोस एक्स्ट्रा टूल्स टू प्रोटेक्ट इट। But I think we will get distracted on this one. We can talk about it later, Haris. But other people can have more questions. बच्चे जो हैं और
हाँ, कोई और सवाल किसी के बारे में? नवाज, सैलरी जो होती है वेरी करती है, डिपेंड्स ऑन स्किल्स and knowledge and the company you are in and what delivers you're doing. So don't worry about the salary. Salary is not bad in cybersecurity.
yeah.
Yeah. You have to be expert in your field, in my view. Just you have to focus on building the skills. Then money will come your way. Don't worry. Yes,
पैसों की फिक्र न करें, अब्बा दे देंगे, अम्मी दे देंगी,
हाँ।
अभी छोड़ दें पैसों की। जब अभी थोड़ा 4-5 2-3 साल काम कर लें, उसके बाद पैसों की बात करेंगे।
skills बनाओ। Yes, Hussain.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that as a product manager, your main job is to be training the salespeople to actually go out there and be able to promote the product effectively. What's like one common thing that you've seen in like the most successful ones, and then what's one thing that you've seen like keep like that kind of holds people back from reaching their potential?
You mean
Or
the
being able to
salespeople? Which salespeople are more successful in their career compared to others? Is that you're asking?
Yeah, basically.
I mean, as I said, sales is all about pitching your thing. Can you sell it to me? Can you sell this thing to me, first of all? And that's I've seen there are sales people को जो मैंने लोगों को देखा, they are point operated. That's a very common term, they use it. And I mean, sales में थोड़ी सी वो भी होती है कि आप की प्रोडक्ट बनी भी नहीं होती, वो बेच देते हैं। That product comes in later, but you have the capabilities to talk and convince the customer saying, okay, ये प्रोडक्ट है, मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, दिस विल कम 3 महीने बाद, ये भी आ जाएगा, ये आ जाएगा, वो 6 महीने की अगले की बात कर सकते हैं। बट आई ऑलवेज थिंक कम्युनिकेशन इज द मेन थिंग दैट इज एप्लीकेबल इन सेल्स। That's it. Number one thing that will keep. If your communication is not good, please avoid sales. Become product manager, maybe become a TME, back-end guy, right? Generally, not everybody is a good communicator, but you can build those skills later. Fine. मगर अगर आपको communication में थोड़ा challenges होते हैं, तो फिर sales की तरफ जाने से बजाय आप technical बने, फिर आहिस्ता-आहिस्ता skills develop करें, and then later go to sales.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
मुझे सवाल अरवा अलमास, was it useful? आप बताएं, कुछ questions पूछें।
सवाल पूछे भाई, खास तौर पे अलमास, कोई सवाल है आप बताएं, करियर के बारे में, किसी चीज के बारे में जो जहन में आपके हो, नॉट जस्ट साइबर सिक्योरिटी इन जनरल, जो आपको लग रहा हो कि जहन में कुछ कंफ्यूजन हो, चैलेंजेस हो, समझ में नहीं आ रहा हो कोई चीज के क्या करना है कैसे, तो फील फ्री टू आस्क राइट नाउ, इट्स अ गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी।
और साकिब भाई, आप बताएं, आप अपने कैरियर के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं?
साकिब भाई, यस मजीद, गो अहेड।
Sir, could you tell us about data engineering as a career?
The data engineer, Arshad, he's asking, Majid is asking, how about data engineering or data scientist as a career?
It's amazing. It's amazing. Go up to whatever you can do. A friend of mine just completed his PhD from UT Austin as a data scientist. Oh, data scientist is an amazing job that can that can do a lot of cybersecurity. Also, it helps the organizations like AT&T ko hazard. Just to give you an example, in AT&T, they were using millions of dollars for transportation of certain things with trucks and everything, and the data scientist was able to save them like millions of dollars. And there's so many things you can do with data scientists. I mean, it's an amazing and today's very relevant field, I would say. It helps organizations, companies to drive budget constraints, to drive help in saving resources. Data scientists, agar aapko data pata hai, then you can do a lot. Even in medical field, if you have a genetic data for a person, the entire history, you can predict things in medical history. In companies, overall OPEX and CAPEX saving, there are cybersecurity. So once you go in this journey with data scientists, there are so many avenues can be opened.
And on top of that, Majid, the point is that, like data scientists are not used just to analyze the data, let's say for the financial data or any specific data. Let's say cybersecurity uses data analysts a lot. Let's say other technologies uses data analysts, right? So data analysts or AI, these all technologies will complement each other, right? So whichever, let's say Arshad is building a product, he needs to understand like how he can use the AI to make his product efficient. Similarly, he can use data scientists to make sure that his product manager or his technology in the back end is using this data. So data analysts are giving the best refined data, right? So build your skill and knowledge no matter which field you are in, and you will find that all the IT technologies are leveraging each other, right? So just to make the product best of it is great.
Alhamdulillah, just busy
आलम
with the
कैसे हैं?
job. अल्लाह का
मैंने
शुक्र।
कहा यार कोई बोल नहीं रहा तो आप ही बोले।
नहीं
No,
अभी
Arshad,
लगा दीजिए।
माशाल्लाह एक्टिव है, समझ रहे हैं, सीख रहे हैं हर इसकी, it's a lot of effort to put all this together.
बहुत ही जबरदस्त।
Alhamdulillah.
Arshad, एक सवाल आया आपके लिए, can I make a career in cybersecurity as a software developer? But still I have a degree in different discipline. Means that degree
doesn't matter. Yeah, degree कुछ भी हो। मेरी electrical engineering की degree है। I mean, तुम्हारी भी electrical engineering degree है, and we're doing cybersecurity. It doesn't matter.
And even the good thing about this careers, IT careers, में अच्छी बात ये है कि even you have non-technical degree in my view, right? Even you can make a good career out of it. This is a good thing. You may have a commerce degree or some other degree, right? But this is the beauty that all you need to know, you have to develop the skills and work towards polishing and refining your skills. As long as you have a skill that people need, the degree matter less. Although degree helps always, but matter less.
मेरी 24 years की जहाँ पे अमेरिका में जितनी मेरी लर्निंग है, मैं एक चीज मैंने सीखी है, इट्स ऑल अबाउट कम्युनिकेशन. हाउ डू यू कम्युनिकेट? मुझे इवन अगर आप अच्छी तरह कम्युनिकेट करते हैं और आप एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हैं कोई चीज पे भी, कोई भी काम पे भी, टेक्नोलॉजी आ जाती है, सीख लेते हैं आदमी किस तरह ये करते हैं इवेंचुअली सॉफ्टवेयर लिखना तो आपको अपनी कोर्सेज में होता है, बट आई थिंक हाउ डू यू कम्युनिकेट इट नाइसली, किसी भी ऑडियंस को आप डील कर सकते हैं, चाहे वो हायर लेवल हो चाहे लोअर लेवल हो, कैसे इजीली आप टेक्निकल कंटेंट को किसी को समझा सकते हैं लेमन टर्म्स में, और अगर आपका सीसो या सीईओ सीएक्सओ जो भी है वो ऑडियंस है तो आप उसकी लैंग्वेज में कैसे बात करेंगे और नीचे वाले में कैसे बात करेंगे, आई थिंक, और फिर आप क्या की प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल्स हैं, आई थिंक दिस हेल्प्स यू टू बिकम समवन हु इज गोना शाइन इन एवरीथिंग. बाकी चीजें हम बीइंग समवन लाइक एवरीवन कैन गेट इट राइट, आपको ट्रेनिंग में दी जाएगी तो आपको ट्रेनिंग मिल जाएगी, आप ये इस तरह चीज उस तरह होती है आप सोचने लगेंगे, but I think I feel like communication was the number one thing I've learned, and I had to work a lot on that. I'm still working on my communication, but when I see CEOs and speakers, I mean I envy them absolutely. So they can do it. I mean, even sometimes I know a lot of knowledge data, but I couldn't present the way it should be presented. So sometimes it struck me. But if you are starting your career, I think the focus should be how do I communicate? How do I build good presentations? And how do I basically troubleshoot things? Troubleshoot करें. अगर आपको software लिखने का शौक है, I mean, then you control everything. So, if you ask me what my kid should be doing, मैं तो ये कहता हूँ कि आप अपनी courses करें, आप अपने highest education तक जाएं, professionally jobs करें, उसके बाद आप अपनी खुद company खोलें, become an entrepreneur, like a CEO बन जाएं. आपने कुछ सीखा, आपने सॉफ्टवेयर लिखा, आपने सारा कुछ किया, आपने कंपनीज को देखा किस तरह चल रहे हैं, 5-10 साल उस पर काम करके देन बिकम योर ओन be in your own entrepreneur. आप खुद अपनी कंपनी खोलें, अपनी खुद रेड टीमिंग करें, आइडियाज लाएं. I think this is what the thing which I want my kids to do it like. That's what I would do.
Absolutely. And अर्शद ने बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट रेज किया है. देखें, टेक्नोलॉजी आप सीख सकते हो और तुम सब टेक्नोलॉजी सीख भी लोगे, यू यंग हो, एनर्जी है, टाइम लगाओगे, लेकिन इंपॉर्टेंट चीज ये होती है कि आपको साथ साथ ये स्किल भी डेवलप करनी है कि आप जो है लर्निंग प्रेजेंटेशन कैसे कर रहे हैं, कम्युनिकेट कैसे कर रहे हैं, समझ रहे हैं ना. तो अर्शद, गो अहेड. आई थिंक नवाज इज आस्किंग सम क्वेश्चन.
Nawaz, you're asking me how to become a professional hacker. Where are you in this journey? That's the question is. I mean, it takes couple of years. Like, I mean, अगर आपको Windows वगैरह तकरीबन 2 साल 3 साल में आदमी आप पूरा बन सकता है. मैं आपको एक ज्यादा टाइम दे रहा हूँ to become a better one. Depends upon मैं कल हैकर बन सकता हूँ 1 हफ्ते के अंदर सारे tools वो डाउनलोड करके and start it. I think it takes couple of years to and get polished. 2 to 3 years I would say.
तो इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग ये होती है, देखें, टाइम तो आपके ऊपर डिपेंड कर रहा है, आप कितनी एफर्ट लगा रहे हो. इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है. दूसरी चीज ये होती है कि आपको समझना है कि हैकर करता क्या है. हैकर आपके सिस्टम में पेनिट्रेट कर रहा है, घुस रहा है, वल्नरेबिलिटीज पैदा कर रहा है, अटैक करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, आपके डाटा को स्टील करने की कोशिश कर रहा है. अब आप अटैकर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू सोचो कि उसको जब घुसना होगा सिस्टम में तो उसको मालूम होना चाहिए आप क्या यूज कर रहे हो, आप विंडोज यूज कर रहे हो, आप लिनक्स यूज कर रहे हो, आपके सर्वर में. तो आपको ये नॉलेज गेन करनी होगी, आपको ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम समझना होगा, आपको कोड समझने होंगे. जैसे मैंने ये हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे, अर्शद ने बताया कि भाई पाइथन इज अ मस्ट. आपको एमएल, एआई, जेन एआई समझना होगा कि उसको मैं कैसे अपने फायदे में यूज करूं, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम कैसे काम करते हैं. जब आपको ये बेसिक्स नॉलेज आ जाएंगी, देन एथिकल हैकर के कोर्सेज भी हैं, सर्टिफिकेशन भी आजकल सीएच वाले कराते हैं, सर्टिफाइड एथिकल हैकर वाले. आप सर्टिफिकेशन करोगे देन यू विल गेट इट. बट फर्स्ट यू हैव टू बिल्ड द बेस, वो प्लेटफॉर्म बिल्ड करना जिसके बाद आप उस एक्सपर्टीज लेवल पे जा सको कि आप हैकर बन सको. या हुसैन?
Yeah, so I know you mentioned like the communication in corporate environment is probably the most important thing. Are there any books that you would recommend that could kind of help with that?
ये एक 2-3 हैं. एक बुक एक राइटर हैं और ट्रेनर हैं, उसका नाम है जेरी वाइजमैन. सर्च हिम, जेरी वाइजमैन. उसने प्रेजेंटेशन की स्किल्स बहुत लिखी हुई हैं. ही टेल्स यू स्टोरीज. Like I took his course back in early 2000, very expensive course, $6,000 का.
About that as well, because मैं भी अभी देख रहा हूँ कि मैं भी जॉब जो कर रहा हूँ वो बिजनेस टू बिजनेस क्या होता है, इंटरनेट बेच रहे हैं हम लोग. तो उसके लिए भी मैं देख रहा था कि मतलब ये ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज जो होते हैं, ये इनकी वर्थ होती है कि जो मतलब ये 5-6 हज़ार की जो होते हैं
डॉलर्स के.
जी,
ऑनलाइन से नहीं, इन पर्सन होने चाहिए. आई वुड से इन पर्सन. हमें जो दिया है वो इन पर्सन दिए हैं ट्रेनिंग्स, कि हमें सुबह से 8 बजे से उसने कमरे से हमें छोड़ा नहीं था और शाम 6 बजे तक, 6 दिन तक. बट ही वॉज एक्सप्लेनिंग अस द जर्नी एंड ही वॉज रिकॉर्डिंग अस ऑन वीडियो पे रिकॉर्ड करते हैं और फिर आपको प्ले करके दिखाते हैं कि आपकी वीकनेसेस कहाँ हैं, हाउ यू आर स्टैंडिंग, वेयर यू कमिंग फ्रॉम. लाइक लेट्स से प्रेजेंटेशन स्किल आप पे खड़े में, आप एक कमरे में, उसमें आपके पास आई एम गिविंग एन एग्जांपल, 20 लोगों की ऑडियंस है, आप इस क्लास में खड़े में, आप कहाँ खड़े होंगे, लेफ्ट पे खड़े होंगे या राइट पे खड़े होंगे. उसका पहला सवाल था. आई मीन आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल. आपको पता है लेफ्ट से राइट पे जाने वाला हीरो होता है और लेफ्ट से राइट पे आने वाला विलन होता है. कभी भी आप मूवी देखेंगे तो वही बता रहा था कि ऑलवेज विलन कम फ्रॉम दिस साइड, hero goes from this side, the screen. I'm just giving an example. And then he started something like, I'm just sharing some of the insight he gave. Like, don't start your presentation is like, hello, I'm Arshad Saeed. I did this. Start with a gimmick. Something that is interesting. So those kind of tips and techniques people give you how to improve your communication, how to basically attract the entire and keep your audience with you when you are talking to a large audience or with one individual. So I think look into Jerry Wiseman. Recently, he was praising Taylor Swift. And he wrote an article about Taylor Swift's concerts recently, why they are successful. Just watch the way he is written. Taylor Swift के recent जो concerts थे वो क्यों successful हैं, what's her value proposition, how does she's doing. उससे पहले वो ओबामा की example देता है. And one of the best speakers he considered is Clinton. Clinton was an amazing speaker. And Clinton was a speaker because he will give an example that he has a lot of empathy. He goes into audience and he won this thing. So a lot of things that comes in and you learn from individuals like himself. He's a very expensive guy, but read his books. So he has like a art of presenting.
It's presenting to win, right? By him.
Yeah, exactly. Jerry Wiseman. So like,
Jerry Wiseman, yeah.
आप किताब खरीद लें उसकी और उसको पढ़ें.
नहीं, आज मैं
उसमें
सोचा था इंडिया को जाऊंगा तो मैं हाँ देख लूंगा उधर से.
Important thing, I think that this presentation and communication skill is a journey. You develop, you polish,
Yeah.
over the period of time, right? You practice it, you develop it, and you keep practicing it. Is it happen over a period of time? But if you keep working it, it's a very, very valuable skill, and it helps you not just with the sales, it also help with your career. Because as
Yeah.
Sarsha said, how better you can present your technical idea. Let's say you're a technical team, right? The important thing is to present your idea in the best possible way, whether you are doing sales or technical or wherever it is.
Yeah, because even in my little experience, what I've noticed, it's not what you're saying, it's like how you're saying the things, more like the body language and
yeah, the body language. You can't stand. He was telling me, don't stand like this. You इस तरह एक तरह करके एक टांग पे खड़े होके wait करके. Don't be like that. Your body has to be straight, and then tell a story. I think his thing was tell a story and make sure what is the one thing you want from the audience, and that's called point B. So bring that point B all the time. Why you're here? You want to make sure what is your takeaway. So bring every slides back to point B, which is he calls it. I mean, you will learn when you read the book. And he keep telling us, and how do you write the slides? The slides should have less words, more visuals, more demos. So there's a lot of things. Less is more. The new world is less is more.
Absolutely. I think it's a great discussion. Any question? Anyone else have from the audience? I think some people have dropped. We are exceeded the time. But anyone has any question? And Majid, I think tell me about yourself, what you are doing. I think you are in India, right?
Yes, sir.
So what you are doing? What are you studying right now?
Computer science degree, bachelor's degree.
Okay, wonderful.
Now I am placed at TCS. Do you know?
Oh, TCS, Tata Consulting Services. Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, it's a great start for sure. So what are you doing in TCS?
I'm graduate training. Actually, I am in training period right now for 6 months.
So which area you are working on right now?
It's like a development, sir.
Okay, like, coding. Okay, wonderful. Zabardast. So you are based where in India?
Karnataka, Bangalore. Near
Bangalore. It's wonderful. No, it's great for sure. And for you, it's starting a career, right? So you already have started the career. So good luck. Don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, just one last question. When you bought the Jerry Wiseman course, did it like make you wanna study it more because it's something that you paid like a huge amount for?
No, they are like a businessman. They I mean also like we spent 6 days with them, and then he said, if you have any questions, let me know. If you are up doing a presentation, let me know. I can help you to create. He also help you to create content. So it was useful. The company sent people. Like I didn't pay from my pocket, Hussein. It's more about from my company sending people like myself and a couple of more people to this company so that he can improve our skills so that we will be useful in the company. So in generally speaking, for your personal, I don't want you to pay from your pocket or something, but you read the books. If your company gives you money to spend and get for training wherever you want to be, so that will help. But keep availing those options. Whenever there is an option to be on the stage, just try that and try it, and don't be scared of doing it. I know stage fright is there, but I think the more, as Haris said, the more you go into this thing, you will get much more polish. First time is not going to be good. Second time is not going to be good. So slowly and gradually you will get better, but you got to do it multiple times. Even the best speakers have speaker notes. Think of Obama preparing for his presentation. That's how they also prepare. They work on it. They rehearsed multiple times and things like that. It's not like it's a complete journey. Even if they are a born speaker, but they work hard on those. What's the messaging they want to communicate? It is becoming a presentation course.
No, it's a great discussion because this is about soft skills, right? It's not just about technology. It's about, and these skills helps throughout your life, no matter which career you are in, right? That's the most important thing. Any other question before we wrap up? Last call. No problem. Arshad, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and definitely the great insight you have given, not just the cybersecurity and but the other things too. And I think we'll probably, if we'll see, right? Definitely, I think we'll try to arrange more discussion session, probably not just a training session. I think discussions are definitely valuable. And I will encourage everyone, if you have any questions or anything, even after the session, you can drop me a message and we can get back to you with answers. And really, I think it was a good session. A lot of insight, a lot of discussion. And any final words, Arshad, from you before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of kudos to you, and you has been, I mean, I feel like they did really amazing to bring all kids here and helping them to in general. So I think it's going to evolve, inshallah, much and much better. I think I really appreciate you doing all this stuff, and thanks everyone for listening to my, extempore sort of thing. It's not a presentation. People say, PowerPoint to death or something. So, I mean, I'm a little bit less on PowerPoints anymore. So, but yeah, thank you for listening to my...
Great, for sure. It's great. Thank you very much, Arshad. And
I appreciate all the insight. It was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And you the book.
Thank you. So we'll continue next week, and probably we'll have the cybersecurity content that I have made. I'll share it with you, but if you want, we'll go through it some other time. So next week, very important class. We're gonna start the operating system, and it's very important. So yeah, let's connect next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.